Hello, everybody, and welcome to this 117 Alpha X Pro Series. This time, we're gonna be casting the games between ArT, our very own Protoss player, and B, our very own Zerg player. So, this is gonna be a best of 9, $50 on the line. So, we already have our first game ready, our first map settled. It's gonna be a game on Thunderbird. Of course, we're talking about a slightly bigger map than we're actually used to, actually being used to in the past seasons. Well, Thunderbird map very well known since last season, and let's see what is gonna be of this best of 9 series between ArT and B. Let's get into game 1, Thunderbird. Here we are, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Thunderbird. It's the Light Beam Protoss. It is ArT. Alpha X ArT. Spawning instead in the top left hand corner is the Red Zerg B. Music volume might be a little bit too high. Let me fix it real quick. Let's back into the game. Of course, you already realized this is a replay. These games have already been played. But well, stay tuned to find out who's the victor of this Best of 9 series. ArT first for B after extractor trick and well, another extractor trick. So B is trying to get as much larva advantage as possible while keeping his spending really low. Not getting a spawning pool or an extractor yet means he's not going for anything too aggressive off the book. But at the same time, B will probably find out soon. This is gonna be ArT first, spawning pool second. Is gonna start a nexus of his own. It is trying to mess a little bit with the mining of his opponent. But of course, the value this probe really gets is scouting. Nexus dropped before the cybernetic score for a Light Beam Protoss, and soon will be, as I said, the cybernetic score. Everything is going pretty standard for both players. Just be not mining that much gas early on. This is like the slightest difference that can make this choice is getting like link speed 2 or 3 seconds later because you're not pulling drones from your middle line, so this is actually not a big deal. ArT catching some drones being produced at the natural archery of his opponent and moving his probe away to maybe get a later scout or maybe hide something on the map or just hide from what? Or maybe just hide something on the map. Or maybe just hide his probe from the links. Of course, the links of B trying to get a probe kill eventually, or avoid the scouting. They eventually find the probe, but not where they expected it to be. B with overload speed opener, while on the other side of the map, ArT going for a Stargate of his own. So we're gonna see soon enough if it's gonna be a Oracle or a Phoenix first. Of course, there is no way ArT can deny the scouting. Okay, it's a Phoenix first, but I don't think it's gonna be out in time for ArT to deny scouting from B, since overload speed will kick in way sooner and link speed already been started by B. Here the overload comes. And let's see what our Zerg player sees. Catches the Oracle being produced in the Stargate. Tries to find everything a little bit off in the map of ArT. Will not find anything yet. Second gateway being dropped by ArT. And right now, 2 Adepts trying to get some damage done. But eventually they decide to shade away. Not after confirming this is not their play. But the drone count of B is high enough for a Protoss player to not have fear of something too cheeky out yet. Shade cancelled once again, and ArT just moves back with his Adepts, while B is sending overlords basically patrolling everywhere. Thanks to overload speed, very powerful upgrade since last patch. An upgrade that most Zerg players are actually abusing. And eventually the Oracle comes in, gets 2 drone kills, and will eventually get away with some more drone kills, but this queen is dangerously close. Another one pops out, but the Oracle survives with 7 HP, very well played by ArT, that with just 1 Oracle, and a scouted Oracle as well, has been able to get 4 drone kills. ArT securing his fur base location while he's moving inside with another Oracle, and probably a third Oracle is in production as well. It's gonna be soon anyway, once ArT finally settles on his third base lair in production, and Roach Warren for B that decided to go for the ranged approach. No shield battery in this location for ArT, but a lot of units eventually were already out, so no real risk taken by our Protoss player, while at the same time Fleet Beacon and a second Stargate being produced by ArT. We're still trying to get some damage done with those oracles. Of course, now that B is well prepared with spore crawlers and queens, most they can do is just find some scouting information, and the lair timing is actually this scouting information. Oracles dive on top of the queen, but one of them eventually dies, and the second one is dangerously low. No queen in this third base location to secure the kill, while the carrier production start for a pink Protoss. And Infestation Pit, B seems like he wants to try and rush to Hype Tech. Feeling pretty confident on his defense right now. This Phoenix trying to get some more scouting information, but these poor crawlers will eventually deny the most they can. Nidus network being dropped by B, and I don't think that ArT's Phoenix is gonna find out anytime soon. Just try and get some Overlord kills, maybe, not even that. And right now this Overlord trying to scout everything that's in the base of his opponent, but misses the most important part. This carrier is getting danger. Okay, ArT eventually stops this carrier from going out. The Overlord gets killed, and ArT can keep hiding his Fleet Beacon tech to his opponent. Okay, Nidus being dropped by B in the middle of the map, and ArT is totally on the blind of this. He doesn't have a lot going on for him, having rushed his stack with his Swarmos out. The most he can do is just retreat to fight another day. Two carriers are out, full of interceptors. That's way enough stuff. Okay, the Locusts eventually get catched. The main army of B is basically non-existent, and these Locusts don't get the focus fire they needed on top of the Nexus. They will not get any damage done. Upgrade for ArT will continue going on, and this Oracle is gonna eventually kill the Nidus. But more Swarmos on the other side of the map. This carrier catches them out, and only minor damage will probably be dealt, since 3 carriers, actually 4 carriers are already out on their job. One proc dies, one Zealot almost dies, but it's these links streaming in the main of ArT being the real problem. All of the probes have been pulled from the second base location, while B dealing a lot of damage. All these probes next to this extractor. Good force fields to avoid these Swarmos from getting into the action a little bit too much. These carriers are trying to do their best, but the numbers are not quite high enough to clear the amount of stuff that B is throwing at him. Of course, ArT falling way behind in workers, but still being pretty strong on his very high-tech army. Trying to avoid any more damage from these Nidus networks will be the real game winner for ArT, who gets a lot of Swarmos out in the wrong location after placing some nearly perfect force fields. These Locusts will not deal any damage whatsoever with these many carriers out. They try to focus on the gateway, but they don't have the right numbers to deal with this. 15 Corruptors, meanwhile, in production for B, that is also getting his upgrades done and trying to get some movement tools in the map. Trying to place another network over here to maybe try and drop some Locusts on this second base Nexus. Not a lot of Zormos going on for B at the moment. This Void Ray barely catches them, but these many Corruptors will get the Warp Prism and will also get this Void Ray way out of position. The Oracle is in position to try and deal with his Logos, but this Nexus is definitely going down. The Oracle doesn't manage to get a Stasis Ward in time, and the Logos are also getting some of the probes action packed everywhere. These corruptors dive on top of the carriers. There's not enough stuff for ArT to eventually climb back into this game, I fear. The Protoss player is desperately trying to shoot his corruptors away, and right now also the War Prism is gonna fall. One more Archon is being moved, and this Void Ray is trying to do the most he can to shoot his corruptors away. The ground army of B is basically non-existent right now. It's only roaches, but these many corruptors prevent for any air switch whatsoever in the immediate future. Locust fighting on top of ArT's army, and maybe our Protoss player shows not that good of a fight. These Archons not falling down. This Void Ray try to get a focus fire on the Queens, but the Void Ray is eventually going to fall. One more Archon being moved behind these units, and more units being worked near this proxy pylon. But the army of B is eventually able to shoo our Protoss player away. His supply is half the one of his opponent, who's also getting the hype tech United Network to get his units out in time, and the army of ArT is gonna be cleared. The Protoss player calls the GG, and he takes the win in game 1 of this best of 9 series. What an action-packed game. Really clever play with the United Network by B. ArT was slightly unprepared for what was coming at him, but with that counter-attack put some real danger into their base. But I mean, probably fighting under that many locusts, not the best choice. Let's see how our Protoss player reacts in game 2. This game is gonna be on Ephemeron. Spawning in the top left hand corner. Hitting from Alpha X. Once again, the light pink Protoss. It is ArT. Spawning instead in the bottom right hand corner of Ephemeron. 1 point ahead in this best of 9 series. Trying to get an earliest advantage he can. The Red Zerg B. Once again, be trying to get a slight larva advantage in the first minutes of this game by placing a 15 patch with the extractor trick, getting sneaking a drone out a little bit faster. The archer is gonna be like 15 seconds faster. Spawning pool not that delayed anyway, but yeah. This is a good opener if you want to go for overload speed, and I think that our Zerg player is eventually going for overload speed. Oh, actually this is a pool. This pool is pretty early. And I think it was the same build as the previous game, but I'm not too sure. Anyway, ArT dropping his Nexus soon. This is still on Hutch first play. There is no reason for our Protoss player to place his cybernetics score before his Nexus. And right now, B is gonna have his gas a little bit later compared to what most Zerg players have at around 2:30 in the game. But still, he's gonna be able to sneak out both overload speed and link speed for when he actually needs them, and maybe drop a slightly earlier third dodge. Get some more drones going for him, like he did in game 1. Of course, those are really minor differences in the playstyle, but like in a scenario of a rush, of proxy and stuff like that, they can make a difference in one way or another. First adept being chrono boosted by ArT. The fear of some lanes streaming through the map is of course very real. Did he lose his probe? Yeah, actually he lost his scouting probe to these lanes. Once again, ArT going for a Stargate opener and B instead with his Overlord Speed opener. The Overlord scouts the Adept going out and immediately he retreats with his lanes to try and find a better spot to fight and get some scouting. His Overlord Speed almost done. Overlord Speed a very fast upgrade as well. He's gonna eventually get the scouting information he actually needs. Okay, music is definitely too loud. Like, at least it is for me. Yeah. Let's keep it at that. Sorry for that. Meanwhile, Overlord Speed kicks in, Link Speed just started, and ArT with the Phoenix first once again. 2 more gateways in production. Bees are gonna eventually be able to scout it. I think he didn't scout everything, but maybe just the pylon placement and his Phoenix being out. Of course, he just knows what is out at the moment. He knows he's gonna be an Oracle next. He knows the similarities between the two games he's played. He tries to get some more vision going on for him. He doesn't manage to catch the Stargate positioning, but he's now hiding his Overlords to maybe avoid any more Phoenix damage and get a further scout later on. 3 Spore Crawlers being dropped by a Zerg player, and the first Oracle is going through the map trying to deal some damage. B doesn't want to lose. The drones he lost in game 1. He catches the Oracle in the right position, but this base is empty of drones. Only this queen is out, and this is a pretty much useless loss of shields for the Oracle. He's now trying to go back. B prepares a counter-attack, sending links to the map, but this is a lot of adepts out to try and secure his third base from going up. Or maybe he wants to just go for the offense. 2 Oracles, 1 Phoenix, 3 adepts. This is not an easy army to show away with just links and queens. The queens try to dive on top of the Oracles, but right now they take a little bit too much damage to these adepts. This is a lot of adepts, not something these many links can actually fight, but at the same time, B up active on the map, get some scouting information. The queens tried to dive on top of the Oracle, but they really manages to get away. 1 drone kill for ArT, who still doesn't manage to get the damage he really wants to get. This is quite a lot of lanes, still not enough to clear these adepts. B knows this, and he just fights with queens. Oracle sneaks behind, actually 2 Oracles sneak behind with those queens out of position, trying to get some damage in this main base. Scout the lair timing, 3 drones gone down, and a lot of shields as well. ArT needs to find a safe spot in which he can recall his Oracles, and he manages to save both of them while establishing his third base location. Robo switch for our Protoss player as well, and this link is just not gonna get any more scouting information. Of course, getting the Robo at this early time, being a distraction, trying to get a cancel on top of this base, but this is far too many adepts for these links to eventually try and deal some real damage. Templar Archives and Charge on the way as well for ArT, who's still trying to get some damage done with these Oracles. Queen in position, with B having a lot of vision around his bases, getting his 4th base location as well. And right now, actually those are adepts. I'm really shocked that actually ArT didn't get Resonating Blades, yet decided to go for a charge play. Since these many adepts in production, these many adepts already been produced, 2 Archons in production as well right now. So he wants to eventually transition into an Immortal Charge Archon army with those Oracles, just getting confirmation of the Roach switch of B. But an Infestation Pit already been dropped, and that is network as well. This is gonna be Solmos again. B little bit starved of gas, but 7 Solmos in production. 4 adepts trying to get some more damage on top of these drones. 3 of them actually fall. He decides to cancel the shade, but the Warp Prism has to pick up those adepts and get away, while the Oracle tries to get some damage on the other side. ArT really settling the pace of this game. Actually B right now completing his first Nidus Worm on the map. ArT is gonna immediately scout it. He has the units to react to this, while B doesn't really have the army to really clear the army of ArT. He loses far too many lanes in the process. Good force spirits to save those sentries. Oh, actually really good catch with the Warp Prism as well to save the sentries. All of the sentries actually survive for ArT, but one Nidus Worm has gone up for B. And I think there is no way for this first base location to be saved. But right now, this log is a little bit wasted on top of that probe. They tried to get the Serrano on top of the Nexus, but right now they're just gonna get some Zealots and some chip damage on top of the Nexus, while B trying to establish a forward position. The army of ArT, of course, way stronger than the game before. Storm on the way, and soon there will be no way those logos will deal any more damage to the main army of ArT. With Archons, Immortals, Charge Lots, and these Oracles being out, ArT can once again be present on the map, trying to shoo away as many Swarmos as possible being dropped through the map. This Warp Prism will get a very good catch on top of the Nidus Worm, and a lot of logos actually get out whatsoever, but there is one stone. I don't think there is. 5 Zealots are gonna try to intercept this many logos, but it's gonna be basically dead meat. This Nexus is not surviving these many logos. Is it though? Oh gosh, this is close. The Nidus was slightly too far away for the Locust to eventually kill the Nexus. And right now, ArT establishing his 4th base. One more Nidus being dropped by B. This one is definitely not going up, but at the same time, the Zerg player trying to get some damage done on the other side of the map. His Observer and the Warp Prism catches everything moving out from B's base, but these are a lot of roaches. Plus still on the way. Burrow move on the way. I think it's called Family Close. And wow, this is a Mothership core being produced by ArT, as well as a Dark Shrine, Blink, and +2 ground weapon. This amount of action, of course, distracted me from catching the tech of those 2 players, but right now B is gonna eventually get this Nexus down, while on the other side of the map, ArT tries to go for some damage of his own. This Warp Prism sneaks behind the main line of roaches of B. 8 probes meanwhile fallen down to those logos, and just a lot more High Templars being produced by ArT. With Storm, these many Archons, B needs a Miracle Infestor Fungal, and this one is a pretty good one. Storm, of course, get on top of those roaches, showing the army of B back. And this archery is no more. B behind in bases right now, still trying to get some Nidus Worms on the map in the base of his opponent with those changelings. But the army of ArT is at his doorsteps, and he needs to fungal some of these Immortals or some of these Archons. But 2 Zealots eventually managed to kill the Nidus, while a Robobay is being dropped by ArT as well, who still cannot move forward. This Immortal gets neural, but the stones are basically perfect for ArT. A lot of neural networks, of course, getting too much damage on top of those units of ArT. The army of B is eventually gonna clear this. This Mothership is basically dead meat in this scenario, with the Overseers being out, while ArT totally forgot to bring an Observer with his army. These Infestors being killed only by Storms, while being able to sneak behind the enemy lines and deal a lot of damage. B once again climbing back into the game, he looked a lot behind, and right now only the worker disadvantage is working against him. But the first disruptor is in production, the last free ground weapon is on the way for ArT, while B is desperately trying to deal some damage. These oracles right now diving on top of the infestors, they try to get away, but only infested Terrans are the anti-air choices for the third player. One of the infestors actually falls, and the main army of ArT tries to fight on top of those roaches. Nothing to do with these many units out. The shield battery of course helps the Immortal surviving with this Archon, draining the last drops of precious shield juice from the shield battery. 6 probes, 10 probes, 11 probes falling down for B, while the third player tries to dive on top of this Nexus. ArT is shooing his opponent away, but B is streaming a lot of units through the map, killing a lot of probes, and right now he gains back the worker advantage he badly needed to establish his 4th base and once again get his grasp on this game. ArT diving on top of the Nidus wounds, remaining alive on his side of the map, but he right now needs to get his 4th base going on with probes again, needs to get a stronger ground army while his opponent is stacking to Hive. Seven infestors already up for B. I think he got, yeah, he has both upgrades for those. So a pretty uncommon stepping stone, but a quite strong one. Anyway, 5th base being dropped by B, while ArT is struggling a little bit to get to his 5th base economy. Having lost this natural nexus, of course, a big hit for our Protoss player. With those two players, I think, yeah, the resources lost top is pretty much equal, with the third player losing just slightly more for he's a really strong tech army. This queen is gonna be nothing really soon. With this charge, with this changeling enabling B to get all the disruptors being narrowed, and one really good disruption Nova was on the way, forcing ArT to kill his own disruptors. Very clever move by B, who still has a lot of map presence with these Nidus networks being placed everywhere. ArT seems a little bit too scared to move ahead. He needs a perfect disruption nova on top of those infestors to actually have some chances of fighting the army of his opponent head on. But he decides to back away and leave to fight another day. One more Oracle in production, 5th base on the way for ArT, who needs to establish some map presence. The first Viper is on the way for B, with 10 drones more on the way. This Disruption Nova is not gonna deal a lot of damage, while +3 ranged weapons is on the way for B, with a Hydraulic stand being placed as well in his main base. Right now ArT also has some Blink Stalkers with his Warp Prism speed on the way, and I think that also Dark Shrine has already been placed by ArT. I'd really like to see some Shadow Scribe action. One really good abduct gets one of those, oh gosh, really good Disruption Nova on top of those drones and infested Terrans, But right now, the army of ArT is probably overextending a little bit. These Vipers are not really strong on energy, but ArT DPS is really strong, and the hatchery doesn't stand up a lot longer. He of course can manage to lose that base. He can expand to the lower left corner, he can expand back here one more time, but he really has a not weak economy going on for him, while ArT just relentlessly tries to go on the map. Right now, one more Mothership and really good Disruption Nova on top of those infestors. Mothership once again in production. This time it is Warp Prism speed. The one before I think it was Observer speed. I'm sorry about it. And 2 more Vipers in production for B, while ArT is getting his armor upgrades as well. This Disruption Nova is not gonna get anything whatsoever I don't think there are a lot of queens out for B, just 5, so not a lot of transfuses going on for a Zero player who really relies on some caster play to change the tide of this game at this point. His base is gonna get scouted by ArT, who decides to dive on top of them with those 2 Dark Templars, and I don't think they're gonna be a cancel. The main army of B is trying to get a good fight, no cancel on this archery, while at the same time B drops a very forward 90s network to just be able to reinforce his army fast enough. One good Disruption Nova gets on top of his opponent's army, but the attacks were phenomenal, and a lot of key units have fallen for ArT. B establishing himself on a... Actually no, he lost both his bases in production, also 13 drones, and right now this is the only observer out, sorry, overseer out for B, who has to retreat back to his 4th base location and trying to establish a 5th one as well. Really good Disruption Nova catches B very unprepared to deal with those Disruptors, and those Vipers are very out of energy, with the economy of B plummeting down against the 5 bases economy of ArT. A little bit of a misplay on top of this Extractor, killing it with Consume, but the army of ArT is the main issue right now. The last one, Shields, is on the way as well. Carrier Switch on the way, one more Disruptor, another base for ArT, was really getting a strong army out on the map. The Zealots were gonna try to kill his 5th base by B once again, while the Disruptors are what are shooing the army of B away. Those Infestors are precious, and the Disruption Nova value is through the roof for ArT. The Protoss player tries to dive on top of this natural ramp. He's gonna get the 90s network down, key structure for B, but I don't think he's gonna manage to do much more once the main army of B joins the fray once again. The Evo Chambers are not what B is battling a lot at this moment. The Infestation Pit and this archery, of course, way bigger targets for our Protoss player, and right now everything in the natural base of B is falling, and this may prove a really bad thing for our third player, with ArT climbing on top of this ramp. Of course, he is close basically in the base of his opponent, but he's gonna get the Hive down, the Watch Warren down, and probably the Hydra 10 down as well, while at the same time perfect abducts on top of those High Templars and Disruptors. But right now the Mothership gets abducted and gets neural as well to prevent any more damage, but ArT is killing everything on the side of the map of B. The recall gets called. He doesn't want to lose his whole army. He has a very powerful economy. He can manage to lose a lot of his stuff since he wanted to go for a carrier switch whatsoever. Losing the Mothership again, once again a big hit. But these Disruptors, not really what he wants to keep alive for the final stage. Oh, actually wants Disruptors and not Storm. So a very unique choice for ArT, who's kind of playing a very different style. This is a very different PvC from what we actually see often. Only the mid stage with the Immortal Charged Archon against Lumos was very common. Everything else we're seeing in this game is a lot out of the common PvC. Anyway, the army of B is still very powerful. ArT trying to outmaneuver his opponent by trying to get on different sides, but these carriers, which may prove a killer move for ArT. The army of B is very powerful, but this Disruption Nova getting a lot of value. The Infestors are all still out with perfect Neural, purple Fungal, and perfect spray of Infested Terrans. Most of those carriers are gonna go down to the powerful army of B. Not an extremely good trade for ArT. He's gonna slowly try to get his powerful units out again, but we have to remember that B lost all of his key structures. He's gonna lose his lair once again, and has lost 6 drones on the way as well. ArT once again sacrificing his main army to outmaneuver his opponent, and right now these are just blink stalkers, while every single unit of B is almost irreplaceable. Hydroden and Infestation Pit being dropped just now, but I don't think B can replace his key units really fast right now. Of course, these many Infestors, these many Vipers, very hard targets to kill. But Blink Stalkers can just blink around the map of B, trying to get some damage done. 7th base being dropped meanwhile by ArT, who's also keeping up with his pro production, his carrier production. Hive on the way for B. A 23-minute Hive can brew quite a nuisance. These Blink Stalkers try to get some Infestor kills. The Mothership is out, but these many Overseers are probably just gonna be enough. Wow, what an abduct on top of this carrier. Probably just slightly out of range. I don't know how he managed to do that, but the carrier just won't fall. One Disruption Nova to zone B away once again. But B just desperately trying to get some damage done. His army is very powerful, but his economy is not. He needs to keep his opponent honest. While at the same time, more Dark Templars just being overall annoying. This Oracle is gonna fall. These Vipers trying to get some more energy for some more abducts into Neural Network, sorry, into Neural Parasite. A lot of charge lots going into the good mining base of B, and these are gonna be a lot of units falling for B. Very good fungals on top of these charge lots, but fully upgraded charge lots don't die that easily and kill stuff pretty fast. Meanwhile, ArT getting the Hive once again while trying to get his +2 air weapons as well. His main army of B is basically just fungals and infested terrans, while ArT is safely on a 4 carrier production basis. Meanwhile, B, of course, having back his key buildings means he can have his unit production back once again. He still has 2 very good mining bases with 16 workers worth of mineral patches. But ArT trying to outmaneuver his opponent once again. One very good Disruption Nova sadly doesn't get any damage done. But ArT is basically everywhere on this map, while B is just pinned to his lower left side of Ephemeron. Very good fungal, some infested terrans trying to get some damage. This is Disruption Nova. Of course, not very good. This one, very good. A perfect storm gets on top of the Vipers. One Disruption Nova more gets a couple Hydras. But right now, ArT shipping units away at B means basically bleeding his opponent to death. This is one example of death by 1,000 cuts. ArT moving inside with the most of his army. Once more Disruption Novas are zoning Infestors away. These Hydras are gonna fall. These many Interceptors are not gonna get killed by these Infested Terrans as long as there are Disruption Novas out. And the Protoss player seems like he's doing a hell of a job getting his opponent's units cleared. A lot of Infestors, Hydras, and Roaches fall with that one more Disruption Nova. But B just doesn't die. These Infestors are just proving too much of a nuisance for B, but this is another one good Disruption Nova once more. Those Disruptors are gonna be the very MVP of this match. Infested Terrans trying to get as much damage as possible on top of these Interceptors, but not a lot of them have actually fallen in this fight, while at the same time these Blink Stalkers are getting everything in the best mining base of B. ArT dies onto the last probably shelter B has in this bottom central base with the hive. 2 more infestors in production for B, but ArT is coming from all sides right now. B tries to back away into another spot to fight another day, but Storm and Disruption Novas are getting on top of all the infested terrans, and it really needs just one Disruption Nova or one Storm to kill any amount of infested terran. Oh gosh, these infestors were really out of position right now. More Disruption Nova. It zone his opponent away right now. B tries to get a mothership of his own, but the recall is gonna get used before the Neural can actually get into action. Those Hydras try to get on top of the High Templars, being barely saved by this morphing. Most of them actually fell, not before dropping some very good storms. But right now, the army of B looks like it managed to shoot ArT back into his base. There is not a lot going on for our reserve players, though. While ArT has a really powerful bank going on for him, B needs to close this game right now. He steals the mothership and kills it down with Hydras. But the army of ArT is very strong, and those infestors do not have that much energy. Carriers slowly getting unit by unit the army of B, while just 4 Hydras are in production for B. ArT can produce any amount of carriers it wants. These Disruption Novas, once again MVPs. A lot of units are gonna fall for B, and this base is gonna get cleared by ArT. B only has just one base going on for him, and ArT can take all the time in this world to actually dive on top of that. Investors very strong on energy, 2 very good narrows, but the disruption and the storms and the carriers and everything ArT has going on for him are going to close the deal. GG being called by B after a 30 minutes game. ArT being able to close the deal. A very unique game went on Ephemeron between those two players. It's already pretty rare to see a very long game on Ephemeron, since the nature of this map is so trappy on the bridges, slow rush distance, not a lot of good mining bases. But with those very powerful late game armies, those two players have been able to just take it slow into the later stages of the game. But eventually ArT, with a very good base trade, basically, well, I will not call it a base trade, since the army of B was unable to actually move through the map and kill his opponent without broodlords, so ArT could just dive on top of the main tech buildings of his opponents. And that's how he closed the deal. So he tied up the series. Let's get into game 3 of this best of 9 of Alpha X Pro Series number 117. World of Sleepers, ArT versus B. Spawning in the top right hand corner as the Light Beam Protoss, just tying up the series after a very long game on Ephemeron. It is Alpha X ArT. Spawning instead in the bottom left hand corner, the red Zerg. It is B, hailing from 3D Clan. Once again, extract the trick into 15 hatchery for our Zerg player. And what to say about World of Sleepers? Well, something that is becoming very common lately is the one they called the Eraser build or Cats build. Both those players have done it up until now. That relies on mining those minerals and just streaming not a lot of Zerglings, but quite enough to disrupt the economy of your opponent. And it's a very interesting build, not that easy to scout as well, But I think it works less and less as time goes on, because ArT will probably be prepared for that. He's gonna probably place a pylon over here, or he's just gonna have something on the map going on for him. And I probably think this is gonna be another Stargate opener for our Protoss player, unless he wants to go on the aggression anytime soon. Next is first, Cybernetics Core second, being dropped by ArT after confirmation of a hatch first that just barely finishes for B. Not a lot of weird stuff going on up until now. I think that B is gonna go for a Novula Speed opener once again. He still seems to rely more on that than he relies on link speed, and especially on such a large map as World of Sleepers. Not well, the rush distance is not that long, but World of Sleepers is very large from corner to corner. So yeah, Novula Speed on the way for B, and Stargate on the way for ArT with the pylon place over here. Since I was correct on everything, don't be too used to that, since my predictions are not always that good, but it seems like I was correct. Stargate opener for ArT on a very good Stargate map. Those links are trying to catch anything moving out of ArT's base, while B decides to go for the slightly more aggressive third base location with the rich Bespin geyser. He will need less workers to provide a good Bespin income, but ArT immediately drops the Robo, meaning that probably he wants to go for something slightly more aggressive. This is a highly punishable position if B doesn't get a lot of units out, and it doesn't seem he's getting his stack out yet. No Roach Warren, no Lair. Of course, this is very early in the game, but he needs to get some scouting right now. His Overlord gets into the base of two Overlords, actually getting into the base of ArT. I don't know, actually, yeah, I did see the Stargate producing an Oracle, so 3 Sport Crawlers in production for B. It doesn't get a connecting Sport Crawler over here. The distance between the natural and the third base is deceptively long. As you can see, this being wobbling down into that location. This first Oracle is out, War Prism on the way, second Oracle on the way. This looks by all means stats build, and the Sport Crawlers just now unrooting. Unlucky timing for B, who's gonna lose 4 drones to this single Oracle. Still being very present on the map. B doesn't look like he's scared of any Phoenix coming out anytime soon. He's still not gonna catch this War Prism moving out. And it looks like ArT wants to go for something aggressive. A lot of queens are out for B, but this forward location is gonna prove not that easy to defend. This queen is probably going down. The second queen joins the fray. A third one joins as well. This Oracle is gonna fall, but this one is gonna live to fight another day. Roach Warren being dropped by B, while these Adepts getting 3 workers, getting some links, and just getting back into the War Prism, going into the main, which is very undefended at the moment. Just 4 links in production for this defense, while ArT prepares its shades while diving on top of some more drones. 5 of them actually fall, the shades are gonna complete, and just 1 more link, actually 2 more links are gonna get killed by ArT before it retreats into his War Prism third base location, being dropped by ArT. That is really getting on top of this immortal production with 1 observer out. 6 drones actually. The Adepts dive once again into the mineral line of the main base of B, getting 8 total workers with just 2 Adepts and a War Prism. That's what I like to call a very, very laid-off harassment. Right now those links not really find the best spot on which to fire, but the army of ArT is not really good at fighting links at this spot. 20 links in production on 3 Ravagers, and it seems like ArT wants to punish his opponent from taking this forward base, but it's gonna be very hard for our Protoss player to work on this much creep, with 4 queens being out, 5 Ravagers, 3 roaches, and a lot of links. Stasis Ward traps only 1 link. ArT tries to retreat on top of those rocks with very good force fields, trapping out a lot of the queens. B cannot work off creep for a lot longer, but these Ravagers just won't fall down, the Immortals don't fall down as well, and as long as the Wolf Prism is alive and the Queens are not joining the fight, this is gonna be a hell of a time for B, who tries to still fight with Ravagers and Queen, but he's gonna eventually lose everything he doesn't please enough attention, and those Queens are actually starting to fall one by one, 5 Queens being killed by ArT in this push, and it looks like B has to retreat once again with this Warp Prism just not dying. B tries to scout for what's going on in ArT space once again while still trying to go for a counter. It didn't lose economy at this spot, but losing that many queens is gonna mean not having that strong of a unit production. Actually, just 2 probes are gonna fall to these many links. Not a very favorable link run by for B. It was bleeding basically from every side. This Warp Prism Immortal Harassment is gonna get some worker kills. Link's kill is just gonna get some APM by B, who's not gonna be able to inject anytime soon with that queen. But the army of B is nothing to frown upon. A lot of links, a lot of Ravagers, a lot of roaches. ArT just now getting a charge, just now getting +1 ground weapons. But a lot of these units get fine on the map. Not a very good trade for B, who still tries to get on top of the probes, get a lot of them in the process. His charge lots getting a very good fight with the links. But there are not a lot of roaches going on for B at the moment with Warp Prism, Micro, ArT can basically chase his opponent throughout the whole map. I think that ArT lost an Immortal, I'm not too sure. Let me check. No, he didn't. He didn't lose a single Immortal. He didn't lose a single Robo unit throughout the whole game. And right now, B though has a pretty powerful army. Those charge lots not very good at fighting in a choke point. But ArT doesn't stop with the aggression. Both players just making units. B doesn't got a single upgrade aside from Roach Speed, Link Speed, and actually didn't get Roach Speed as well. While ArT just finishes his +1 ground weapon, getting his +2 ground weapons, and with a very powerful army, he's gonna try to move on creep once again. A lot of force pills for our Protoss player, while B tries to set up a surround with those links barely missing the real action. B is spreading his units, and right now the engagement can begin. Force fields trapping some queens and Ravagers away, but Biles are gonna be able to eventually get all units into action. The army of ArT is slightly too strong, but the Warp Prism eventually falls down. Archons are all very low on HPs. Immortals are out of shields, but the B is out of units, and he's gonna be out of this one archery as well. Drones are gonna get pulled, but B doesn't look like he has quite enough to clear this army. Archons are gonna start to falling down, Immortals are gonna start to falling down, but it's just 4 queens and 1 Ravager for B at the moment, with a 27 worker behind economy. ArT is gonna be able to get 1 more game and 1 more point ahead in this best of 9 series after B calls the GG. Once again, a very action-packed game, but it seems like ArT was able to punish the very bold and aggressive choice of B of getting a low ground third base with the rich Vispin Geyser, and with just some really committed aggression, ArT closes the game after even losing 16 probes. But let's get on to game 4 on Acropolis. Let's see if B is gonna be able to tie up the score. Whoa, music started really tense. Spawning in the top left hand corner. Just getting ahead after the last game in its best of 9 series. It's a live being Protoss Alpha X ArT. Spawning instead in the bottom right hand corner. Aiming from 3D clan. It is B. Start the trick. Actually, first is the name of the opener of B. Just doesn't like to change too much his openers. So Acropolis, once again, very easy to defend map on 3 bases. Once you get your 4th base either over here or over here, things start to get a little bit messy with once again a map that's pretty large. Also a lot of open spaces that favor Zerg swarming gameplay as well, but once Protoss get to late game, they can outmaneuver the slow Broodlords Infestor Viper army of the Zerg players, and at that point it can become even more messier. The Zerg players just trying to get hatcheries everywhere. But let's see if this game will get up to that point. Nexus first cybernetic score after confirmation with the probe scout for ArT. Second gas being dropped, and we're just waiting to see the first tech choice of ArT, while B is probably going to go for his overload speed opener once again. I think his second overload out way later with his 15 hatch opener. Basically forces B to get an overload speed upgrade before link speed to get some really good scouting information, because his first 2 links are not going to be able to get in while ArT drops down a Stargate as his opener once again. Probably gonna see free Oracle into Robo, since this is one of the best maps for Oracle play, and still being a very good Robo bait map as well. So these Raptors, Colossi, very good on this map, but as well as a Skydos army. And let's see what is gonna be the decision of ArT. Overload speed halfway through for B, who gets the second adept out just now. For ArT, who's still gonna try to move ahead and deal some damage to his opponent. Actually, it's a Phoenix first for ArT, who tries to deny some scouting, even chrono boosting this Phoenix. Probably wanting to drop something else in his base, another pylon, and an Oracle being dropped by ArT. This Phoenix is gonna be able to kill the Overload, but not before it actually sees the Oracle. The Phoenix is gonna be able to kill the Overload, but not before it's gonna be able to see the Oracle being produced. And right now, ArT trying to saturate his base. B wasn't quite prepared for losing this Overload, a little bit supply blocked, but he's now dropping the Spore Crawlers he needs to defend this Oracle pressure from his opponent. Meanwhile, the Phoenix and the Oracle get into action. The second Oracle is out and the robot being dropped, with one more Phoenix being produced, actually by ArT, jazzing things up, improvising with his build order, something really unique. 2 Phoenixes, 2 Oracles, to just try to get some more damage by lifting 2 Queens probably. Those Oracles are desperately trying to find a spot on which they can deal some damage, with the Phoenix staying behind to catch Lings moving out. The Oracle seems to find a spot on which they can deal some damage. The Spore Crawler is gonna be able to shoot one of them away, but the kill on the Queen is confirmed, and this Phoenix is gonna start and try and chipping away at those Overlords. Lings, meanwhile, streaming through the map to avoid ArT from expanding once the time comes. But I don't seem like B wants to get some damage on yet. Right now, though, ArT tries to get his expansion and B moves out once again with his Lings, avoiding the Oracles and the Phoenixes. But it looks like ArT is still not expanding. The Phoenix is gonna catch the army of B moving out, and ArT immediately pulls his sentries and 2 adepts. B dies on top of the probe, but he knows there is no way he's gonna get damage. On top of this, more Phoenixes in production for ArT. This is very unique for a Protoss player that with the Robo switch decided to go for a heavy Phoenix play, while on the other side of the map, B establishing +1 ranged on the way, Yacht Warren and a lair almost done. Those 2 adepts still trying to get some damage alongside this Blue Prism, like ArT managed to do so well in game 1, in game number 3. And ArT still wants to go for some kind of push of his own. Infestation Pit being immediately dropped by B at 6 minutes, and he's also floating a lot of gas. He's also getting 3 overloads, 4 overloads. This is almost, I can tell you that's a little bit too many overloads being produced by B to be for nothing. I still don't see a Nidus network being dropped. Maybe B wants to hide it a little bit longer. He still isn't also floating a lot of stuff. But yeah, Nidus network being dropped, and Swarmos are gonna be probably the immediate next answer with 9 drones in production. On the other side of the map, Twilight Council switch for ArT, who right now has 1,000,000 Phoenixes out for him. Those Oracles getting a lot of damage actually on top of those Ravagers. Just one of them falls, but this is crazy. Not a single unit by ArT has fallen throughout the whole game, and we are 7-13 minutes. ArT really establishing the kind of game he wanted to, and right now the Phoenix is stabbing once again on the economy of his opponent. 2 more drones die on this other side of the map after this War Prism harass, while Charge and +1 are on the way for ArT. Phoenix is being shooed away by those queens that are desperately trying to move everywhere to counter every single piece of harassment ArT is trying to deal. The Phoenixes try to dive back to him once again, find some overloads out, get 2 of them probably. No, I don't think they're gonna get 3 good transfuses. Clutch save on top of the overload, but the second one is gonna fall whatsoever, and this is probably going to be a regal. Actually, 1 Phoenix get killed. And right now, B trying to just scare his opponent from using some energy. Good piles on top of those Oracles. ArT a little bit distracted over here, loses 1 of them. The army of B, of course, very powerful, but without Banelings, cannot close the game. He needs some kind of tech, and he decides to go for Infestors. A lot of Romos in this Nidus, as was foreseen. Upgrades for Infestors. I think only, yeah, not Nerod is done, just Buffaging Golans. Those Romos trying to get some damage. They will find some Locus on top of the army, but with these many Archons, I don't think they're gonna find a lot of damage. They just try to get some probes, till them actually fall, but even lives on top of the Locus eventually clear the harassment of B, who's right now getting Neural, is getting more Infestors, and is just getting into a quite comfortable spot with a 5th base on the way, and it seems like the damage ArT has dealt throughout the game wasn't quite enough, but with both players just don't rush in damage, just trying to get to a later stage of the game. As you can see, basically nothing has been lost by both those players. Just a very low amount of resources. I don't think Burrow is done for B, so he can move with those Infestors through the map. ArT is trying probably to establish a 5th base after this one, with those pylons a little bit everywhere, zealots and adepts patrolling the outward spaces, but the army of B is just trying to gain as much map control as possible, sharking through the map with a fleet beacon on the way for ArT. It seems like an Adaptron as well. It seems like ArT decided to go for that more slow type of army, while still being able to outmaneuver with some counters with BTs, War Prison, and such as that. B still preferring a quite mobile army. Of course, Infestors not the most mobile army, but not going into Broodlords, just keeping it with Hydras and Roaches. High tech on the way, probably just for upgrades. Not a Spire inside yet. Those Phoenixes are gonna find a lot of damage after Fungals get on top of them, and ArT immediately loses a good chunk of his army. 7 Phoenixes gone down after those perfect Fungals by B. Only 6 drones being killed by our Protoss player in this harassment, but these are a lot of Immortals, and the army of B is not that good at killing Immortals right now. B trying to find some damage on top of those of the wall. Fungal gets some perfect damage on top of the Immortals. A very good Nero on top of this Archon. Tries to find some more AoE damage. Perfect Fungals. First storm are out. Infested Terrans are gonna be no more. But the Locust get a lot of damage, and the army of ArT is fully piece after piece. Once again, good Fungals, good piles, and the caster control of B is basically perfect with the first Vipers joining the fray. Where are you going? Okay, they turn back eventually. But ArT manages to fight on a good spot, has some good storms, and shows his opponent away. His almost are out on the other side. Locusts are almost off of cooldown right now. They drop off cooldown, they catch the first Disruptor being out, and they're gonna dive on top of the Nexus and indeed Robo, while on the other side of the map, Infestors get killed by cannons. Not something you see that often, but right now, B just tries to be all over the place. Dark Templars are gonna clear the harassment of B, but one more Disruptor is gonna get abducted. Good Storm on top of the Infestors. A lot of Infestors have actually fallen for B, but I don't know. ArT has lost the Nexus, has lost his Cybernetics Core, lost a lot of key units, and all that he has going on for him right now is just a very, very strong economy. But B is maxed out, exploding a lot of resources, expanding into one more location. Actually, 2 more locations. And yeah, B just trying to get every base he can. They just have some more. Oh god, this Disruption Nova! What a dodge by B. He manages to lose just 1 Hydra to death. Very good Disruption Nova. Right now, Locusts are trying to find some damage on top of the army of ArT. Very good Storms get on top of the Locusts, but once again, the caster control of both players is phenomenal. A lot of damage going on right and left, but not a lot of units have fallen into this one more engagement, while ArT is trying to get his key units out. First carrier on the way. Good Nero, the Queens join the fray with the B's quick spread being at the doorstep of his opponent's base. Last 3. Carapace almost done for B as well, who decided to go for the Carapace upgrade to have a better shot at fighting charge lots and such stuff as that. Okay, these Hydras being found quite out of position. The main army of ArT clashes on top of them, but these Infestors are not gonna be easy to fight on top of. Some good in Destruction Nova gets some Infestors, but those Disruptors get abducted into the jaws of Queens, Roaches, Hydras, and Infested Terrans. The army of B is still very strong, 4 more Infestors in production, 16 Hydras, but ArT is probably gonna be able to eventually get on top of this archery and get some damage done. I think that B may have lost a little bit too many queens while not being able to expand on the top right side as he tried to do before. Shadow Stride on the way for ArT meanwhile, as well as Blink. It seems like our Protoss player is trying to go for a more mobile army, and the Observer is going down. These Locusts are not gonna find a lot of damage, but B needs some more archery. Lost a little bit too many queens. He still actually has no queen out at the moment. He's just using these 3 units to gain value, but it seems like ArT has spared the storm, and right now it looks like with those carriers out, it is just one carrier anyway. One more fight going on. Once again, not a lot of key units falling from both sides without the Vipers being into the action, but a lot of Locusts and Infestors and High Templars energy have been used up until now, and it seems like B is once again a little bit too pinned into one spot with his opponent outmaneuvering throughout the place. Mothership on the way. Disruptor production never stopped with the most mobile army of ArT. Actually, very good fungal here on top of those High Templars and carriers and interceptors and just basically everything. But these Infestors are just a little bit too out of energy to try and deal the finishing blow to the arm of his opponent. One of the Infestors falls after a little bit of a mismove by B. But the Zero player is still maxed. He still has a very good tank and a really good abduct on top of those carriers. Not some very good fungals. A little bit too late with those Infested Terrans just barely killing one of them. The Vipers move a little bit too ahead. One of them actually falls with those Infested Terrans not being able to get a lot of more damage. Actually, some Interceptors are falling and an Oracle falls as well. But the B is still not getting one more base. Actually established this base once again, but he needs to expand on the top right side as well. Once the mobile Shadow Stride, actually one carrier falls, the mobile Shadow Stride, Dark Templars and Blink Stalkers will start to find some damage as well. Two Nexus, sorry, on the way for ArT, with B just barely being able to hold on top of this base. Actually, ArT comes from 2 different sides. There are no Locusts, and these units are basically body blocking each other. Not a good fungal over here. This base is gonna fall once again. A very good Disruption Nova tries to get some Infestors, but a very good abduct prevents their damage from being dealt. B loses this base once again, and this has become a very interesting war of attrition, with this DT getting a little bit too much damage on the economy of B. Still very powerful bank, still not that bad of an income. There's a depth over here still preventing B from expanding in the top right side. Is probably gonna be forced to do that soon. And the free spread of B, of course, is very good into this lower left side, not very good in the top right. And once those bases are eventually gonna mine out, very good abduct on top of the Mothership, on top of the Disruptors, these Infested Terrans and Locusts and Hydras are trying to fight everything at once, and right now the Mothership eventually falls down after being a very good cloaking field for these units. Not a good fungal going on top of those Disruptor. One Disruption Nova against an Infestor and a Swarmers. But once again, those two players are just exchanging blow after blow. He's been waddling a little bit too much forward, and he's gonna find a fight with a Photon Cannon that cannot win him. ArT still not able to, B still not able to expand once again. Locust getting on top of one of the Disruptors. One is saved by those shield batteries, but right now B decides to dive on top of this Nexus, and these infestors and hydras are proving quite difficult to kill for the army of ArT. Very good Nerul on top of that. Archon still gonna get a lot of AoE damage with the Fungals dealing the rest of the damage that is needed. This Archon of course is gonna fall to hydras and infested terrans, and ArT is bleeding a little bit too much, but B at the same time is not being able to close the game, not being able to prevent the mining of his opponent, and just dragging more and more into this game with this almost army just not being able to cut the deal. One good fungal forces the army of ArT from being a little bit too behind, but those charge lots get on top of the infestors, get one of them, and the Disruption Nova is gonna get another one. Very good abduct on top of one of the disruptors, gonna get some more key units for B with 4 infestors on the way. The infestor army of B is gonna be crazy. These are 34 infestors for the Zerg player. Knight is going throughout the place to enable B to reinforce his main front a little bit quicker. These infested terrans out, of course, just to be able to force his opponent back a little bit. This Nidus network over here to try and deal some damage on top of the other base. Oh, this is basically a flank with almost just... Oh, very good abduct. Actually, 2 abduct, crazy good. And also a High Templars falls down. 2 disruptors, 2 High Templars. This Nerul on top of this Archon not probably going to be able to get a lot of stuff done. The Infestor eventually falls and more Fungals get on top of the Stalkers. Just more damage on the shields, and right now B can enforce this position with static defense as well. He doesn't need that many drones. He's establishing himself another base over here. He probably wants to get a little bit everywhere on the map as soon as possible, but ArT is just not allowing his opponent from doing basically everything. A flank with the Locust comes in once again. The Archons are gonna be final, slightly out of position, as well as the Disruptors. 2 of them actually fall, 3 of them actually fall, as well as an Archon with those Disruption Nova just not being able to cut the deal. Not very good storms as well, and ArT misplayed a little bit, but he's gonna be able to get to his maxed out army whatsoever. Of course, the bank of B is very, very powerful, but right now our Zerg player abducting some of the key units. The carrier is out, no more high ground vision if that Oracle eventually falls for B. The Changelings are gonna die as well. The Oracle gets a reveal on top of the base of B. Of course, our Zerg player desperately needs to save this base if he wants to keep his income high. But I mean, as long as he saves the drones, the base is gonna fall down. He's probably gonna start another one soon. He didn't want to lose too much of his investors' energy. One good abduct, another good abduct, but the Fleeing Stalkers fleeing forward, get one of the Viper down, and infested terrans get killed by the Disruption Novas. Tempest and Colossi switch for ArT, who still wants to get his last word on this game after being forced to fight on this spot for this much time. One Disruption Nova gets 2 infestors, but this game the Disruption Novas have not gained the value they gained in the game on Ephemeron. Right now B tries to expand on top of this base with those Hydras shooing the Zealots away. Actually forfeiting this base over here and deciding to fight on another spot. 38 drones mining over here. But right now, the one who has the high ground vision is the Protoss player over here. So B has been deflected, while these Zealots are trying to get some damage done on top of those archeries. Probably ArT didn't imagine there was a base over here as well. Locust still trying to get some damage on top of the Nexus, and this is gonna go dangerously low. He needs the shield battery saving the Nexus. The units are barely going to be able to save the Nexus, and right now the shield batteries are doing their work, giving some shield back to this Nexus. I just slightly out of position. This Evo Chamber, I don't know why it's over here. But the Tempest and the Colossi are gonna be really tough for those Infestors to eventually shoo away. Once again, good attack on top of the Oracle, stripping ArT from his very mobile Revelation unit. This Disruption Nova is not gonna get any damage. This one is not gonna get damage as well, while B expands to the top right side finally. So everything it's doing over here is just trying to chip some units at his opponent. His gas income is very low, but B right now can manage to get his forest, his spines out, 12 drones in production as well to just get some more stuff going on for him, and this base is probably going to fall soon. B forced to back away at once another spot, with the army of ArT right now being way too powerful for the Zerg to face head on. Good abduct, still shipping damage away, but this Disruption Nova actually not getting any damage. With the Tempest still trying to snipe Vipers down. Of course, Vipers versus Tempest, a very unfavorable fight for the Zerg unit. Be losing 10 workers on the downside of the map. His Oracle is eventually going to fall to those Hydras, but he is of course more and more behind, while ArT is slowly pushing forward. Not even that slowly, to be honest. The army of ArT is extremely powerful, with these many disruptors just dealing damage left and right. He just needs to escape from Logos, but right now, unlucky timing. Good abduct on the Archon, but the Logos get all focused on top of that Archon, avoiding any more damage on the rest of the army of ArT, who still had many stones ready for him, I think. Yeah, about 4 stones or so, maybe more. And this base is gonna get denied, while B still safely mining out of those 2 bases. His main concern, of course, is mining gas. He doesn't need that much minerals as long as he has income on those gas vesting geysers. And oh, that's not a cancel. As long as he has income on those vesting geysers, he can feel pretty safely on his mineral bank. Those units trying to show way for this left of these units by ArT, but no Overseer out. I don't know why, so eventually those units are gonna be cleared, and right now here it's only Infestors. Of course, these Infestors are max of energy, and they can just kill this Oracle with some Fungals. This Disruptor is gonna fall down as well. The Dark Templar over here is still alive, and that's just a little bit crazy. ArT showing his opponent back into his corner once again. His army is not that mobile, but he's very strong, and the positioning by the Protoss player has been basically perfect through the whole game. Once again, another archery by B falls down. 2 good abducts get those disruptors. Oh, this one is gonna barely die to this fungal. Plus 2 shields on the way for ArT. This means a lot. An upgrade that is normally never seen. B trying to get rid of his ground army in a formidable way to try and switch to some later tech units, but B never dropped a spire throughout the whole game. That's just crazy. Right now ArT trying to find a spot on which he can flash on top of his opponent's army, but B with those fungals and infested Terran spray with those very high energy infestors, he's just gonna be able to keep his opponent honest for a while longer. Once again, B trying to keep the high ground while ArT desperately trying to find a spot on which he can climb, and seems like he found it right now. Not a good disruption Nova, very good abducting instead. Nidus network being a very good maneuvering tool for B. It was still very powerful on the army, but this bank is basically no more. Right now those Logos trying to find some damage on top of the disruptors. Nothing is gonna die for B, but the Vandals gonna close the deal for some of the units of the Protoss player. B trying to expand over here once again. His bank is not that strong anymore. He cannot afford to lose a lot of stuff anymore. These many Evo Chambers for Consume are probably just a little bit too much. But right now, two very good abducts on top of the Archons. Gonna get to Archons, but two Vipers fall down as well as these many Swarmers just not escaping into the Nidus network. This Queen is gonna fall down as well as this other one. Not a very good abduct, not gonna find an Archon kill. Storms get on top of those infested Terrans, and this is a very loud army right now. Still finding some damage on top of the army of B with those Tempests. And it seems like B doesn't really have a powerful answer to those. He's still on a very gas-heavy army without having a powerful income. 4 more Vipers have been produced by B. He still needs some miracle caster work to make this game a victory for him. Right now some more Logos are trying to get some damage. They're gonna get a High Templar and 2 Stalkers down. Or maybe 2 High Templars and a Stalker. I'm not too sure. But B is just very strong on Infestors. It's just not that easy for ArT to move on the spot. Since there are so many Infestors out for our third player. This Overseer is gonna fall down after a lot of shots of those Templars. Very good abducts on top of the High Templars, but the Storms are gonna be able to eventually clear all of the infested Terrans, 1 Swarmos and multiple Hydras. 3 more Swarmos is in production for B. That is not feeling very safe on his actual count of Swarmos. Still trying to find a little bit of a surround to get some key units. Try to dive on top of this Colossus. The Colossus is not gonna fall, but ArT is a little bit pinned into a single spot. Very good abduct on top of this Disruptor. But B needs to spread his units a little bit to try and clash on his opponent from multiple sides, forcing a recall, or maybe just narrowing his very key units and getting some damage on. Of course, these Disruption Nova are very scary, as well as those Storms. As long as ArT has these many spellcasters, B cannot engage, and as long as B has these many spellcasters, ArT cannot engage. The attrition war is just going on and on and on. 1 more star, 2 more targets being added by ArT, who wants to transition into a full Skytos army, while these shield and armor upgrades are on the way. This Colossus is gonna fall. Very good engagement being taken by B, who's gonna be able to get some key units for ArT with those infested Terrans. Many infested Terrans are on top of this Disruptor and on top of this Archon. And a lot of units, of course, are gonna fall for ArT, but probably not enough. Still, B tries to find a very good fighting spot. He gets one with a very good Binding Cloud and some powerful abducts. But still, ArT not bleeding as much as I thought he would. Very good Vanguard gets every single unit of ArT's army. So the abducts are basically free. Of course, those Viper are going to fall. This one Disruptor is not gonna survive apparently. But right now, B establishes himself with quite a powerful mineral bank and a very powerful army, but the bank ArT has 8k minerals, 2.5k gas, and a Skytos, which at the ready with many stargates ready for him. I think it's actually 6, it's 4 stargates ready to pump out units if that's the need. ArT still gonna try to stay on this army for a while longer, trying to mine out the bases he has, but B established himself in this high ground advantage once again. So ArT still has to find a spot on which he can fight his opponent. Fungal shipping some damage away at his opponent. This Disruptor is not gonna hold like barely 6 HPs for it, but I think the Locusts are gonna close the deal. Actually, they dive on top of another Infestor, but this one Fungal is gonna kill it eventually. Still, B trying to get a good... Oh gosh, these many changelings died. Oh, meanwhile, actually ArT with a very powerful charge lot run by tries to get some key stuff from B. Doesn't quite manage to do it. ArT still pinned a little bit to behind. These are a lot of Infestors spraying 3 units for free, and oh well, B actually avoiding the stasis ward. What a clever way this Archon gets abducted on top of a lot of Infested Terrans, and Infested Terrans triggering a stasis ward. Pretty good deal for B. Still some stuff is dying for B in the way of clearing this charge lot run by. Meanwhile, ArT established this base for himself. Not a lot of gas in here, but the hive is gonna fall. Lair being started on the way in this, by the way, in this hatchery. More Disruptors being started by ArT. His main army is not that powerful again. These Infested Terrans almost getting one of the High Templars. But right now, B is able to move forward and basically set up a pincer attack with those Infested Terrans, forcing ArT to move more and more behind. There are no Locusts out to eventually kill this Nexus, but B is moved so forward. I think this forward base by ArT is gonna fall. The Protoss player is gonna have to retreat to this location, and right here begins his Skytas production. 14 probes fall, this Nexus falls. A lot of stuff has fallen for B, who can now go back into the lower side of the map, probably. I think that's where he wants to go. Oh, actually wanted to go to his main. Was this an all army ArT move? I can't find the reason for this movement. He's almost a lot out of position, but with a spray of Locusts, I'm gonna get a safe passage through the middle of the map. Right now, it looks like the priority of B here is to clear this last base. There's only 8 patches of minerals worth of mining and no gas over here. I don't think this was the right choice. Defending this archery is way more important for a third player who needs those gas geysers. For him, he needs those 16 mineral patches, and yeah, those 3 bases are basically the only, as well as this one, the only good mining bases on the whole map. So the rest of the game is probably gonna be focused on this top right side of the map. The fight for these resources is still on. Of course, ArT has a very powerful bank, not a very powerful army compared to 1BS. But here there are a lot of minerals, there is a lot of gas, and even more over here and over here. So if B manages to keep both those bases alive and maybe prevent his opponent from mining this one, he could eventually get to a powerful bank advantage. Okay, those charge lots, sorry, those changelings are gonna die. But as well as those Infested Terrans, a pretty wasted storm by ArT. I think that Tydom is getting on top of those players after 40 minutes game, and a 30 minutes game being played before an Ephemeron. So right now, B actually not defending this spot. This Spine Crawler is not gonna stay alive a lot longer. I think it's gonna buy enough time for these Hydras to be back. But ArT, right now, his Hydra's army is very strong. He has a lot of Eye Templars, he has a lot of Disruptors, and losing this base is not that big of a deal. Look at this Hydra going ham. Melee Hydra attack is so dumb. Like, it's so weird. Anyway, B still trying to find some damage on top of the army of ArT. Locusts, Fungals, Ducks, everything that he has. Actually, Ducks, I don't think he has any more Ducks. I don't think he has Vipers out. Okay, he has 2 Vipers out. A lot of Queens are falling as well. And ArT had to spend a lot of his bank to switch into this Tempest Carrier's army. Still has some ban going on for him. He has a lot of shield batteries over here to enforce his army. Plus 1 air armor and plus 3 shields on the way for ArT as well. Still a crazy game. 41 minutes and still going, and it doesn't look like it can end anytime soon. Right now, he abducting everything he can. Every single unit is starting to matter more and more and more for both players. This actually is eventually going to fall down, and 3 units are gonna get killed by ArT as well. Still, these many levels with these good Fungals are gonna get some damage done. The Mothership, of course, being able to block most of the units, preventing a lot of damage from being done, but as long as the Fungals hit the main army of ArT, this Mothership is not going to cut the deal. 1 more Tempest in production. There is nothing on the way for B that has all his upgrades at the ready, I think. Yeah, +3/+3, it doesn't need anything else. Maybe he would have needed a Spire a while ago to just get some Corruptors out, to just get something out for him, but he preferred to go for 1,000,000 Infestors. And right now, I think he's eventually paying off. He still has the 3 mining bases left on the map with a very game of waiting playstyle. But ArT doesn't look that weak as well. Powerful army for him, powerful bank, still a forward shield battery position, managing to kill these archers once again. And good revelation on top of the infestors. These infested terrans are not going up, and with high ground vision for ArT, it becomes very hard for B to get on top of his opponent's army. Very good Fungals get these Disruptors and Archons, but there is not a lot of vision right now. Very good Fungal once again gets the main army of ArT. Some infested terrans getting sprayed out just to keep ArT at bay. But right now B is a little bit too thin in this spot, and these Swarmers don't look like they're doing that much anymore. They look just like that meat at this point. Might as well get rid of them. Grand army of ArT, sorry, is not the main issue right now. Hydra's joined the fray. Locust trying to get us around at the Ducks on top of one of the Disruptor. More Disruptors in production for ArT. It doesn't look like it wants to get rid of this double ground, actually triple ground army splash damage with Disruptors, Archons, Immortals, sorry, Colossi, and Storm, so it's actually a quadruple splash damage ground army. But this one more base of B is gonna get cleared. I don't see ArT expanding over here, but it's probably gonna be soon. He wanted to clear one more base of B to get onto that base, but right now ArT moving forward and forward and forward, while B doesn't look like he's gonna be able to clear his opponent's army as long as it doesn't get an incredibly good engagement. Right now, ArT trying to dive on top of the last mining base of B, and right now B is just mining from here. Those two drones, that's all that's going on for him. 3 workers out for B. Of course his army is still very strong, but okay, very good catch on top of this mothership. Neural on top of it as well. He tries to get a time warp with more fungals. Very good fight by B, who doesn't manage to get something more than a lot of damage on top of it, sadly. So ArT still manages to get the best possible engagement going on for him. He doesn't have an economy, ArT does. So right now, every single unit B loses is irreplaceable. A lot of infested terrans getting sprayed out, but Storm, Colossi, Disruption Novas, that's all it takes for ArT to shoo his opponent back into the last shelter he can possibly have. B, right? Okay, it's a gateway. ArT establishing himself another forward position, but oh gosh, ArT moving a little bit too forward. But very good Disruption Nova gets 3 infestors. This charge lot is gonna be no more very quickly, and this forward shield battery position is gonna be what ArT needs to close the game. Oh, Fangos is gonna barely not killing that Oracle since the shield battery is putting some work. ArT still not expanding on the top right hand corner. Still has some gas income. He still has a pretty powerful tank, so he just wants to close the game right here. He just wants to focus on his main army. He doesn't want to drag this game any more than needed. 46 minutes is enough, says ArT, who still has an incredibly strong army. B has a lot of infestors for him, and infestors are a very powerful unit. But I don't see the main army of ArT falling down unless the Protoss player does a major mistake at this point. Right now, also +3 armor for ArT air units. I think it's the last upgrade that he can possibly take. Yeah, I think he got every single upgrade he could possibly take up until now, aside from resonating blades or something like that. Yeah, right now, just getting some kills on those oracles, minor victories for B, but ArT Bank is powerful. He can manage to lose some oracles, he can manage to lose some charge lords, he can manage to lose some disruptors. He can manage to lose basically everything, while B doesn't have an economy at all. Doesn't have a single mining archer, he just has, yeah. Right now he has nothing. I don't know where he's mining. Yeah, he's not mining anymore. There's no more mining for B, who has 3 workers but no mining days. ArT instead still mining strong on one base, still, well, not that strong to be honest. Actually he's not mining anymore as well. I think here, yeah, he's mining something here. He could be mining something here as well, but well, the mining bases are this one is basically full. This one almost on a good spot, and this one not that much. I mean, those guys are empty, but there's just one more base worth of gas and 2 more worth of minerals. ArT still trying to establish a spore forest, so he might need, sorry, B, so trying to establish a spore forest, so he might need those minerals. Yeah, just 4 drones mining right now, not a lot. Disruption Nova gets the bulk of the infested Terran's army of B. Right now ArT has a lot of supply going on for him. but he has also 40 workers that are basically useless right now. So the army supply is not that far ahead. So the Growers player, once again, a big spray of infested Terrans, probably wasting a little bit too much energy for B. And he might need this energy very, very soon. By the way, is the chat bugged? Because I can't see a single message in the chat. That's very weird. He losing his last archery mining and probably will lose his last archery at all right here. Right now, ArT getting a nexus over here like was foreseen, but B is stealing the gases. Of course, if B is able to maintain this location, there is still some. Okay, he dies on top of those shield batteries as well. But ArT just wants to end the game. So he's just gonna try to kill the buildings of B. So this is what it comes to at last. It seems like ArT, by just scaring his opponent into taking this one more base, forced him a little bit out of position, and he's just now trying to kill the structures in the main. The Queens are eventually going to be able to clear that many charge lots in the main of B. But right now, B bleeding some more infestors, some more queens, some more workers. He's cleaning every single unit that he has, and he doesn't have a bench to support this at all. ArT, meanwhile, trying to get a nexus on the way, some gas mining on the way. Oh, what a tiring game. B, once again, trying to get on top of some high ground to fight on a better spot for him, but not a very powerful army compared to the one of ArT right now. Of course, these many infestors, I will tell for the thousandth time, these many infestors really hard to engage for ArT. West is shown his opponent away with Disruption Nova, but this is where all of the buildings of B are, and if B doesn't react to this, the game is over. This is the last bastion of our third player who's not reacting at all. He basically decided to give up this game, and he's gonna eventually lose every single building. So that's how this game ends. I think this is the last building for me. Oh, it is not. What? How is this? Wait a minute. Oh, he has a one spore crawler. This is the last bastion for B. This one spore crawler. Okay, there are a lot of infestors here, but are we sure this is enough? He's still trying to move this spore crawler everywhere to keep it safe. But one reveal is gonna put this spore crawler under vision. Oh, very good Swarmos Locust Wave, clearing most of the ground army of ArT. But right now, it's just one spore crawler against everything. And with Disruption Nova, he can get on top of it. Right now, he gets on top of it with everything he has, and this one is not gonna fall yet. It is gonna fall now. ArT gains game 4 of this series, placing himself at a 3-1 advantage. Oh gosh, what a game. Very, very interesting game by both players. Oof. And ArT just managing to be the most lucid one, the most cold one in this scenario, being able to close the deal for this game and get a 2-game advantage on top of his opponent. I'm gonna take a quick break for getting some water. Gonna be right back. and see you very, very soon. Just 1 minute. I just need some water, really. Sorry for the wait, everybody. Let's get into game 5 of this wonderful series. Right now, ArT ahead 2 points in this best of 9. Let's see if he's able to get to match point on Trident. Hello Tristan. It's going well. This is one of the best PvZ I've ever watched. A 53 minutes game before and a 30 minutes game even before that. But let's see what those two guys are gonna be able to do on Trident. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner as the Light Beam Protoss player. Coming from Poland, hailing from Alpha X. Just won 54 minutes PvZ on Acropolis. It is ArT. Spawning instead in the top left hand corner is the Red Zerg, proving himself to be quite a stalwart of infestor play. It is B. Of course, both players are definitely going to be very tired after that game. They took a break, of course. This is casted from replay, I remember you. But they've taken a break, of course. But this is still not enough. There is not a single break who can really makes your mind clearer after a 54 minutes game. Right now, B getting to his comfortable arch first on 15 drones. His obstructed tree. I never quite understood holding off on this map, to be honest. ArT, after just seeing it was an arch first, going for his Nexus first and Cybernetics core second, as he's gone for every game. B, just with his standard play, one less drone in gas to get his older speed. Of course, those two players are just sleeping a little bit in macro in these early stages of the game, but we already see the first tech change of ArT. He has gone for a Stargate opener throughout the series. Right now he decides to go for some Twilight Council play, and B goes for his standard overload speed, third archery being dropped after killing that probe. The probe of course gets confirmation. It's a very early third arch, well, not very early, just very common third arch. And B is still mining from gas with 2 drones. I don't know if this is intentional, but it's definitely something not very common. Right now ArT reposes a death beacon, uses a wall? I think it is. Anyway, this all gonna get shoot on top of high ground. Of course, he's gonna try to get some vision on top of ArT's base with this second overload. But another Stalker gets into position. He's gonna intercept the overload. With overload speed, there is not a lot of stuff that can get out of grasp of vision. So B is still deciding not to go exactly for the places he should go for. And yeah, he's just now out of range for the Stalker. But where is this Darktron? Well, it's in a very safe spot. Right now, B sending in one more overload to try and get some scouting. At least on the third base timing, but it's gonna be completely on the blue for this Dark Shrine play. I don't think he definitely knows that this is gonna be a Dark Shrine. This Roach Warren in time to deal with any kind of early aggression, a lot of links in production as well, but we don't see a lair and we don't see Spore Crawlers. And that is definitely a bit of a misplay for B, who's definitely going to take some damage from these Dark Templars. Yeah, there is nothing for... I don't think that even ArT thought he will be this unprepared. That his opponent will be this unprepared to deal with these Dark Templars. Right now, ArT getting on top of the Queens. The Warp Prism is not really safe at the moment. Really trying to... Yeah, he gets down a little bit of a micro sleep as well. 4 drones fall, 2 queens have fallen, but the Spore Crawlers are eventually up. This Dark Templar is gonna get surrounded, while this one is gonna safely break away. He's still trying to dive, probably where he shouldn't be going. And, well, ArT still not doing quite as much as the damage I thought he would have dealt. But still getting some stuff going on for his opponent. Lair being started, 4 drones lost, 2 queens down. Very powerful link counter by B on the way. I don't think he's gonna get a lot. Actually, his Adet is gonna fall. And I don't think the Immortal is gonna survive to this as well. Actually, this was a very powerful counter by B. And right now ArT trying to micro juggle this Immortal as best as he can to eventually... Oh, okay, yeah, he doesn't sleep that much, so he's not gonna lose the Immortal. And he's trying to get some Zealots out, both players looking very, very tired into this game, sleeping a lot with their micro, with B being able to deal quite a lot of damage to his opponent. And now B still not getting to his 4th base. Probably it's a little bit late. He should be getting his 4th base going on, unless he wants to go for a powerful push. It doesn't look like ArT has a lot of units going on for him. He just now starts to mine from this 3rd base location, while B safely getting to a lot of drones. Infestation pit on the way as well. And this is just his stepping stone. He wants to get infestors out as soon as he can. Who can blame him, since infestors are that powerful in these times. But B really has a very good vision. Like he catches his opponent moving out, but ArT, I don't know if he clicked on that, but he definitely saw the infestation pit. And now more Dark Templars morphing into Archons, but these Ravagers are probably gonna cut the deal for B. The army of the Protoss player is very strong. Both armies are upgraded. Okay, class 1 ground weapons for ArT is gonna be a very, very powerful advantage for a Protoss player who's trying to dive under this ramp. B setting up a concave with these roaches and queens, with some links joining the fray. Right now the Arbiters try to dive on top of the opponent's army, getting the force fields out of the side of this ramp. But right now more bites are trying to reign on top of the Protoss army, forced to move behind. The War Prism falls down, and right now there is just this amount of units for ArT. It's gonna be able probably to get a kill on many of those roaches, but right now B moving forward with these units, getting one more immortal, getting one more. Oh my gosh, those fires, getting those zealots after being targeted on top of his own units. B with a 200 IQ play, getting every single unit for ArT down at this moment without losing a lot of his own stuff as well. And right now B finds himself in quite a powerful place. Very strong advantage, +2 ground weapons for both players, but ground weapons for ArT and ranged weapons for B. But ArT being forced a lot behind after his own push. And right now B has more workers, more income, more army. B has just a little bit more of everything. Nidus network being dropped as well by our star player, who likes to close the game with Nidus play and just placing stuff all over the map. It is very powerful vision up to this point. He also catches these Archons, War Prism moving out, so he's gonna react accordingly by 9 Swarmos are in production, and they're not gonna be scouted by or maybe they will. The Nidus gets scouted by ArT with a very good hallucination, so he's gonna try and get some vision throughout the map. Pufferjack glance on the way for B for using faster switch, and the Nidus network immediately scouted. Actually, oh no, that was just War Prism killing some overlords. Yeah, this Nidus swarm is definitely going up. ArT is trying to expand to this side of the map, but right now, one Nidus swarm gone over here, one over here. Those zealots are getting on top of these swarmers, but yeah, the Nidus swarm is gonna fall down, but so will this Nexus if it gets focused down. No, the focus is on top of the cannon, so I don't think that eventually the Nexus is gonna fall down. A lot of probes are actually falling down, while at the same time on the other side of the map, the War Prism dropped with those Archons, and a lot of Zealots have killed 11, 13 drones, because the army of ArT was moving also into this 4th base location. He sleeping a little bit too much with this micro, and he, recall, is gonna get a lot of these units back home, while ArT still getting a lot of damage. This is 30 drones being killed by our Protoss player, who looks really solid and looks like he wants to get to match point really soon. Right now, ArT doesn't have the powerful of an army compared to his opponent, but the mining of B is non-existent right now. 44 workers, and not a lot of them are mining at the moment. And now this archery over here is gone down as well. These logos, of course, getting a lot of damage of their own. One Nexus is gonna fall over here, but ArT still safely mining on this 3rd base location, still finding out where the Nidus rooms are. But B wants to get this Nexus as well, and if ArT allows this Nexus to fall, yeah, he's suddenly gonna be in that powerful of a spot. Logos being the strongest DPS unit in the game, of course, proving themselves to be quite an issue for those Archons to clear. The first 4 Infestors are on the way for B, who's still trying to get to his late game army. Neural is on the way as well, while our Protoss player trying to get his +3 run weapon, trying to get his blink. He still tries to fight with a more gateway based army, not in very good economy, not as a very good economy to actually try and switch into something else. But right now B really trying to climb back into the game after losing that many workers. This Nexus is gonna fall, and suddenly B is in a very good spot. I don't think ArT has taken advantage for the amount of damage he has dealt. These Archons are gonna clear the rest of the Locust. But ArT has to double expand right now. Drops a Robo Bay as well to actually try and deal some damage, clear those Nidus wounds throughout the map. And one more is gonna be dropped over here, just out of sight for these Zealots. And it might target down this one more Nexus as well. A B with a very strong army out right now. A lot of infestors out. His income is superior compared to the one of his opponents. These Logos are gonna dive on top of this one Nexus, and one more at least cancel is gonna be found by those Logos. The cancel gets pulled by ArT, but the army of ArT is very weak compared to the one of B right now. These many infestors are gonna be quite the nuisance for the Protoss player to clear if the time comes. Hive on the way for B as well, and one more Nidus Worm being placed by our third player. Tunneling close to get rid of those roaches in a quite unique way as well, if the need to free some supply eventually comes for our third player. But right now, B moving throughout the map. The Nidus Worm gets killed, but one more Nidus gets placed over here by B, who's looking really prepared. Wants to clear this one Nexus as well, or at least fight the army with Locust. One Disruption Nova is gonna take some buy some time for ArT, but at the same time the counterattack kills 12 drones, but Locust and Locust have killed 12 drones due to Disruption Nova on top of these infestors, but B is just moving throughout the ramp after narrowing several of the key units of ArT. The army of ArT is not as strong anymore. With these more prisms still being alive, there is still a lot of micro potential. The army of B eventually gets cleared out, but with these Locusts way out and some Fungos out as well, army of B is gonna be able to back away into the Nidus Worm. B still quite strong on the army supply, not that strong on the worker supply after a lot of drone kills by the run-bys of ArT. But the Protoss players not being quite able to clear his opponent's army, and instead of leaning a little bit too much his own. And now one more Nidus gets sniped by ArT, who's still trying to establish some kind of map control. One more Dark Templar gets some damage done, gets cleared almost immediately this time, and B close to maxing out. Still trying to find the right Nidus Worm, to close the deal and walk on top of ArT's army, who's looking awfully unprepared for this. Right now, B gets a glimpse of what the army of ArT is made of. One Nidus goes up over here, one more is going up on the other side. This Raptor being... oh gosh. Okay, the Nero is gonna get... this was a little bit of a move too forward by ArT to still try to deal some damage with those Disruptors into the War Prism, but moved quite too close to those infestors, narrowing down with some help of infested Terrans the units that ArT tried to send at his opponent. This Dark Temper trying to do as much as he can to shoot his Swarmos away, but I think this Nexus is gonna fall down. Actually, ArT has all of his army at ready to deal with the Locusts, so the Nexus is gonna survive. But at the meantime, B working on top of the other base. Recall gets cold, but this much stuff is gonna prove very deadly for our Protoss player. These infested Terrans packing a punch on top of the army of ArT, who still has the Concave on top of the army of B. This almost, of course, being dead supply in this scenario. And right now, this one more Nidus Wolf is gonna fall. Plus 3 ranged weapons on the way for B, while plus 3 shields is on the way for ArT. This looks once again like a very long game, but the army of ArT is not remotely as strong as the one of B. It was almost maxed out. One abduct on top of the disruptor. All these raptors getting attacked. All of the key units are out for ArT, who also uses a disruption nova on top of his own units, and he's now losing every single unit. ArT post the GG after a very bad micro sleep, but B being able to climb back after a very rough game. Wow. So, ArT not being able to get to match point after a very rough game on Trident, I'd say. Dealing that much damage and not being able to close out the game. Of course, a very bad hit, but of course, tiredness is getting into action in this scenario. A lot of micro slips and some very sloppy macroing in some scenarios. But I think that in game 6, our two players are gonna get back to their usual brilliance. And let's see if on Winter's Gate ArT is able to get to match point, or B is gonna be able to tie up the score. So here we are spawning in the bottom right hand corner at the light pink Protoss. Hailing from Poland and Alpha X, it is ArT. Spawning instead in the top left hand corner, it's a red Zer player, it is B. Just cancelling down an overload to have his usual earlier third arch. Oh gosh, I almost didn't see the drone. Red on red. Stack the trick once again. Double time for B to get some more larva going on earlier for him. Some more drones sneaked out with very minor losses. I guess you can see it's just 12 minerals. Anyway, we've seen every single opener for ArT in those 5 games except for Robo opener. That is basically the most common one. So I'm kinda curious to see if ArT is going for some Robo play of his own in this game 1, or if he's sticking to his guns and just trying to go for Stargate or Clara Council after an Archon drop that proved to be quite successful, finding B very unfair to the old Dark Temples. Also, this probe trying to do some damage, not finding that much, of course. Not a Predator probe, I think. So trying to be a nuisance for B, just trying to be annoying. Of course, mental game comes into action as well at this point of a series. If you can get your opponent mad or annoyed, of course it starts to become an advantage, so they become eager to do damage and stuff such as that. Chrono boosting an adept, of course very common for ArT at this moment, to try and get a very early scout, deflect some early lanes, but there is nothing to, of course, block this third base location for B. Very safe for a third player to get an early third base location, and it's a Twilight Council opener for ArT, who probably will try to go for an Archon drop once again, since it was that successful in the game before. Overspeed opener is instead what B is going for and has gone for all those 6 games. Now the second adept out for ArT. right now, but a Stalker instead to try and deny some vision. And right now some links are moving through the map. Dark Shrine being dropped by ArT. It is instead, this is indeed Arcane drop. But yeah, this Overlord is gonna be able to scout everything. Is this the robot? Is this the Twilight Council? Not researching anything. And he sees the Dark Shrine. ArT dropping his next two gases to add his income to have 4 Dark Templars out on the map. Lair on the way for B. Who's also probably going to start a couple of Spore Crawlers just for safety, to have some vision out against those Dark Templars. Right now, very weird wall by ArT, who needed to place a pylon in his wall as well to complete it. Of course, this is once again probably just some tiredness mistake. While, oh, actually, yeah, here it is, robot. The War Prism is on the way, 2 Dark Templars are on the way. Where are the Dark Templars? Actually, where are the Dark Templars? Oh, they're already here. So ArT still trying to deal some damage after being completely scouted of his intention, loses one of his DTs without getting any damage whatsoever. There was a proxy pylon over here, and right now he's gonna try and probably morph Archons. The first Archon gets morphed, and right now probably a second one is gonna be morphed as well very soon, unless he wants to keep one Dark Templar to just try and sneak some damage in. Yeah, it doesn't look like he wants to do that. This Stalker trying to deny some vision, and Blink is on the way. Meanwhile, more gateways and +1 ground weapons is being researched. B trying to get some map control by moving a little bit outwards on the map, getting +1 ranged weapons as well. Finally, Archon drop can begin for ArT after losing a lot of time morphing those Archons. But ArT wants to expand to a fair base of his own. Meanwhile, behind this, those Archons still trying to get some damage done, and I think they will get at least a queen or a couple. Actually, not a single queen falls, and the War Prism is forced to move back away. Meanwhile, one of the Archons almost falls to these roaches moving more forward off of creep, and once again B dropping a 6 minutes or so infestation pit to get some swarmers or infestors going on way faster for him. So we +1 ranged, a lot of gas income, a lot of supply out. This could very well be once again Swarmos play Nidus Network being dropped by B. It looks like he wants to go for Swarmos back again, 3 on the way. They have been quite a powerful tool for the reserve player. But in both the games he went to ultra late game with Swarmos, he lost both of the time, so he probably wants to close the deal a little bit quicker this time, as he tried to do on game 5, so he could eventually tie the series. But some bowlers are actually falling after being found on the map, scouting for B. And where is the first Nidus gonna be placed? Of course he cannot place it over here, there are plenty of units. He's probably gonna try and place it around here, I think. Actually, one has already gone down over here, and he can eventually even fight the main army of ArT alongside those loggers. He's trying to dive on top of the third nexus, and ArT is awfully out of position. One more Nidus Network for reinforcement being dropped out of this third base location. This base is gonna easily fall down, as well as easy mortar. The Archons are gonna be juggled in the Warp Prism by B. Is moving more and more ahead. One Archon falls, a lot of stuff is falling for the Protoss player. 13 probes have gone down and B found himself in a very good spot, killing this Warp Prism with piles. Very bad micros leaked by ArT, who's looking awfully tired after those many games, and B doubling the supply of his opponent with a strong income advantage and a very powerful army going on for him. Ivy's on the way, Buffon Clans on the way, and it's time for investors for a third player. More Lotus on the way for ArT. For B is already trying to get some damage done. And these Stalkers blinking everywhere are of course gonna be nice on them, but it's still APM being used by ArT. Still has to clear those, still has to add a reaction. He basically files his own units, but he can easily dive on top of his opponent's army. There is not a lot going on for him. This Nidus Worm is going up, and right now ArT is just relying on Blink Stalker for defensive blinks forward, but it worked. The Nidus Worm is out. Those almost get caught out, and B takes a very unfavorable fight for him. After that many Stalkers have been worked out, very hard to retreat on a map such as Winter's Gate. And right now ArT is not looking that sloppy anymore. But the army of B, wow, 3 infestors on the way. How many are already out? Not a single one, but 2 Vipers are out, plus 3 ranged weapons is on the way. And it just looks like B is crazy ahead, at least in tech and income right now. Well, the income is pretty much similar, but he's gonna be ahead way sooner with 70 workers out. Those Locusts trying to get some pylons out, just empowering. Oh, actually they empowered the Robo, the Cybernetic Core, and the Kit Blade. But the very thing that B has been trying to do for the past 4 minutes basically is buying time for his infestors to be out, and now that his infestor army is out, he can basically try and fight however he wants to fight. One more Nexus on the way for ArT with one more Robo being dropped. There is enough time for this Nidus to drop his Romos out and get a cancel on his Nexus, but he decides instead to move on one other place and use those Locusts to get a little bit of a surround on top of his opponent. Nidus here for reinforcements, not a lot of Ravages. Locusts are out, and right now B tries to get an engagement. Locusts dive on top of the Stalkers after them being bungled, abducted on top of the Disruptors, and ArT just calls the GG after seeing the army of B pulling his own army apart. Once again, what a game by B, who managed to tie up the score after losing a 54 minutes game. Not that easy. That's something I can easily tell you. But let's see who gets to match point in game 7. Is it gonna be ArT or is it gonna be B? Both players really tired at this spot. But there is only one victor, and of course they can't get too much tired. They need to keep on fighting for this prize in this Alpha X Pro Series 117. And for this, in the lower rightish corner of Disco Bloodbath, it's a light pink Protoss player hailing from Alpha X, and from Poland it is ArT. Spawning instead in the top left-handish corner of Disco Bloodbath, it is B, hailing from 3D Clan. still the extractor trick for B is gonna be used to get a little bit of larva advantage. While ArT is going for a scout of his own. No proxies yet, no cheese yet. This has been a full-on macro series up to this point. And let's see if it's continuing to be the case, even in Game 7. B screaming good luck and fun. And right now ArT is gonna know pull first for B. Just gonna drop a Nexus and a cybernetic score soon. Being annoying with this probe, of course. Still something that is gonna be useful. Right now B gets tired of it, pulls a drone to deal with the probe. But eventually this probe is gonna get away. Actually it's patrolling next to this archer. Cybernetic score on the way for ArT. While B is probably preparing for his overload speed opener. Still 2 drones mining gas instead of 3, as that was the case in which he wanted to go for link speed. And ArT saw that there were only 2 drones mining gas, so he probably knows this is overload speed. Still not very concerned about what's going on at the moment for our third player. He drops a Stargate. This choice has been probably the most favorable for our Protoss player. The 2 games in which he dropped the Tala Council he lost, and out of the 4 games he dropped a Stargate, he won 3. So it is understandable for him to decide to go for a Stargate opener once again, getting a Phoenix probably first to deal with this overload. This probe getting information of the third base being dropped by B. Still a lot of overloads are going through the map, as well as those 2 adepts. Right now overload speed kicks in, Phoenix is on production, and this overload is not gonna live a lot longer. Still getting a full scout. Sees the target, not yet producing anything. He now sees the orbital being produced. But those 2 adepts are getting into the natural of B. Oh, we're into the main. I think they're gonna get cancelled. Yes, the shade get cancelled. They're still gonna try and find some damage on top of his archery. Maybe just chip it down a little bit to kill it later, but it doesn't seem that that's what he wants to do. B tries to set up a surround on top of his adepts that just shade back away. ArT moving ahead with 1 Oracle, 1 another in production. Spore crawlers being dropped by B in his bases. And talking about Banes, we didn't see a single Bane in that game as well. Good save on those 2 drones. ArT not being able to get more than 1 drone, I think. Did he get 1 drone? Yes, he got 1 drone. Or maybe 1 link, I'm not too sure. This Phoenix also not gonna get that overload. And now B back into droning heavily. 7 drones in production, while ArT decides to go for a robo switch. A lot of violence in good far. Right now, ArT getting some more damage done. This Phoenix is barely gonna get away. How many HP does he have? 6. Gosh. 3 drones falling down for B. Roach Warren being dropped, and of course a lair as well for B, who still wants to go for his ranged style. 2 adepts trying to shade into the mineral line of B, and they will probably complete the shade. 1 drone falls. And now it's just more and more drones being actually focus fired, and not a lot of damage actually being dealt. 2 adepts have gone down for just 4 drones, while the Oracle also flew in without finding a lot of damage. And well, +1 ranged on the way for B, sorry. with ArT dropping his first forge of the game. Immortals are gonna be start in production as well, while ArT trying to establish a third base location of his own. ArT forcing also a cancel on top of this base, killing the drone as well. And right now, Twilight Cancel and Robo is a switch for ArT, who's still probably going to go for that powerful mid game Charge Lock, Immortal Archon build, and Infestation Pit as early as always for Pete, who also already has a Nidus network out. Where is it? Oh, not Nidus network out yet. But he's gonna be dropping one really soon, that's for sure, with some Somos production being started as well. Right now the supply block is the main issue for Pete. He's still trying to get some more army out to help him with dealing with the army of ArT that is at his doorstep. The push of ArT is a very powerful one. One queen is gonna fall down, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to eventually kill our third player that has been very good at avoiding those stasis ward ArT. Right now, moving on top of this third base, he's gonna clear a lot of the stuff that he has, and he's gonna start right now focus firing some of the drones. One of them actually falls, but there's still a lot of Ravagers, still a lot of roaches. One very clever Bile gets the Oracle just behind the Ravagers of B, and that's a pro gamer move, I can tell you that. Sniping down an Oracle with Corrosive Bile, not an easy task. Nidus network right now dropped by B. And it's gonna be almost soon with +2 ranged also on the way for our third player, because being able to hold the push of his opponent and establish a fourth base of his own. Still more drones are actually falling down to those oracles, but right now ArT still safely on 3 bases as not being able to put a halt to his opponent's economy with his very powerful push. Now Temperance Archives on the way, the first Archons are gonna be produced, Storm is gonna be on the way as well very soon to try and counter his Locust waves. And right now B trying to pin his opponent back into his base with some Roaches and Ravagers. But the army of ArT is of course very powerful at dealing with that kind of push. So right now he's just trying to find some map control to get some Nidus swarms, going on for him. We almost joined the fray, and a lot of Locusts are gonna get used on top of these charge lots. Of course, Locusts are really slow, so once ArT has moved back into his hard ground, there is not a lot that he can do. He actually decides to die on top of that Immortal being saved by the War Prism. Of course, B has a very high army supply, but it is slightly deceptive since Rumors take a lot of army supply. And right now, the Infestor switch is already on the way, the Hive is already on the way, Neural is already on the way, Burrow is slightly late, with tunneling close to help B get rid of roaches if the need should arise. So those Locusts are gonna find definitely some damage over here, not probably gonna kill the Nexus. Actually they tried to dive on top of the Archon, not a very good choice with this War Prism being out. They're gonna get some charge lots down, but 2 charge lots and some Archon damage for those many Locusts, not the best of deals. Of course, Locusts gets a lot of value over time, but ArT is actually establishing himself his late game army, dropping a Nexus, Robobay on the way, and a Dark Shrine on the way as well. B is dropping a 5th base of his own, and this production tab is just through the roof. Hive, Ardually Stand, 1 more archery, drones, overseers, burrow, neural, +1 ground, carapace, and tunneling close on the way at the same time for B is almost maxed out and is just getting everything he can. 2 Vipers on the way and muscular augments for those Hydras. B getting to a very strong Roach Infestors, Vipers, Stormers, and Hydralis army. This Immortal is gonna get neural and try to find some damage on his comrades, and right now the Roaches are gonna shoot it down. Storm almost done as well for ArT, and right now very good blink escape. Those Stalkers have escaped with a very good blink from those Locusts. He's still trying to find some damage on top of the army of ArT, but finds himself to be slightly off position, loses one of his infestors and most of his roaches after a very unfortunate push over here. Losing most of his army in not a very favorable way. ArT can right now find himself in a very good spot, but those Locusts get one of the Archon. He's gonna get one of the Immortals as well, if not 2 of them. Actually, the Locusts saved the fight for B after losing that many roaches. He was able to snipe 3 key units from ArT, who's still not producing the... Oh no! This is not good. And ArT, I don't think he managed to see that. Oh gosh. Yeah, he saw that now. Oh, I don't think he did. Yeah, you're stuck, buddy. Yep, better to start shooting at them. Anyway, B maxing out, moving out, getting his +3 range, while ArT finally starting disruptor production. Roach is getting on top of the High Templars. One of them is gonna fall, and the second one is gonna be saved by the War Prism. Locust Wave being used on top of the main army of ArT, while those infested Terrans are trying to beat. Basically, the Locusts saw the situation, trying to kill everything in this base for ArT. 8 drones meanwhile falling down over here. Drones, sorry. Where the heck are they falling down? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it was over there. But anyway, ArT easily shoots his opponent away. Right now, B finally manages to kill those Dark Templars, hacking at his drones. But right now, those Hydras and Roaches gonna shoot those Zealots away. Actually, gonna kill those Zealots. And more Infestors in production for B, who's already getting a bank of his own. This has been the style of B throughout the whole game series, sorry. And very good at Darks, getting those Disruptors. Vipers just not falling, fighting with the Logos, of course. Very strong way to fight as a 3rd player. And right now, those Infestors are not very rich on energy. So eventually B is gonna be falling behind. Those Blink Stalkers trying to get forward on top of the Stalkers, gonna find only, on top of the Infestor Solid, gonna find only Hydras. And right now, oh gosh. Is this even possible? You can actually consume an Hydra Swarm. I never knew this. This is incredible. Why kill it though? Anyway, ArT preparing a charge lot run by over here. There is no Spine Crawler here, so a lot of drones might fall down. There is still a lot of Locusts trying to fight some good fights. Storm's not fairly perfect, getting a lot of his own units, but ArT is holding the Storm. His opponent not being able to close the game yet, while he's still getting to his oh gosh, what a fun goal. Still not gonna be able to get a follow-up since there is no very good units out for him yet. And right now, as foreseen, those charge lots get a lot of damage over here. 8 drones falling down. This archery is probably going to fall down as well. Only now those Hydras gonna get caught on top of them, but the archery is gonna fall down nonetheless. Right now B though is expanding also on the top right hand side of the map, as this is a very rough map to expand on, because the more the game goes on, the more the game goes on, the harder it becomes to actually expand into safe locations. But right now B tries to find once again a good engagement, of course really good at Darks, as always, this guy has proven us to have very good caster control, getting perfect attacks, getting very good mirrors on top of some key units, and once again, B takes some very advantageous engagement. Not a lot of energy for most of those infestors, but still very good fungus. Oh, and if he can storm that army, oh gosh, he does so. He storms his own army with a Nero. Well, dead iTemper. In fact, stormed his own army. Of course, I'm very tired as well, guys. I'm sorry for these slips, but anyway, be able to clear one of the ArT methods of ArT with those charge logs at its per base location, but this archer is not even gonna get cancelled, while at the same time in the main base this Dark Templar is trying to get his spawning pool. 4 pros, 5 pros are gonna fall for ArT, but this damage is far more important. The spawning pool is gonna fall for ArT, for B. And yeah, one more is gonna be produced here at the natural base of B, that is getting his +2 ground carapace after getting all his ranged upgrades. Okay, right now, very bold move by B, who sacrifices 2 infestors to get some damage done with Disruption Novas. He gets one pretty good Disruption Nova on top of his own army, but what I'd be scared most if I was B, it was bleeding these many workers throughout the map, Dark Templars everywhere, killing everything B has going on for him. 31 workers down. Where are those other Dark Templars? Actually, I think they're over here. It's charge lots. And more drones are just gonna fall everywhere. Right now, the economy of B is not that strong, I can tell you that. 34 workers falling down, and this is not a good day to be a drone. 76 drones have fallen throughout the whole game, and this may prove deadly sooner or later for B. 2 more drones falling. Those Dark Templars just relentlessly dealing damage everywhere they can, while the army of ArT is moving on creep. Those charge logs clearing most of the money in this space, while B is forced to move more and more back into his side of the map. Of course, creep spread still a very strong point in his favor, but with those Dark Templars sharking through the map at every possible spot, B is gonna be hardly mining for a couple minutes. Right now, ArT also trying to get a mothership, trying to get into his latest army composition. Those charge lots are gonna be intercepted, and very good scouting by B prevents any more damage from those charge lots over here. But the main issue for B is of course still fighting the main army. Good. Oh my gosh, this was a very strong move, and getting this infestor is not gonna be a victory for ArT, who lost a very big chunk of his army to one of his own disruptors. The fight's still going on, one more disruptor is gonna fall, and just a little bit too much of ArT has fallen down in this attack. B still finding himself in a very strong spot, with ArT unable to switch into late game armies like carriers, tempests and stuff such as that. A lot of probes are falling over here. Nexus is gonna fall as well, and well, that's bloodbath for ArT. Bleeds 25 probes over here. This charge was won by not dealing way enough damage as he needed to. And now the Colossi are out. It's gonna be way harder for B to eventually get on top of the opponent's army, but the motherships have been killed one by one every single game. I don't think a single mothership has been that useful in any of those games, and I think the resource loss tab is through the roof for ArT, who lost 24k worth of minerals and almost 11k worth of gas, while the whole game bleeding a little bit too many units, a little bit too many buildings, just everywhere. Oh, what she mean by minus 400 and minus 400? Six more goals, 7 more goals. A lot of stuff is falling down for ArT once again. Good abduct on top of the Colossus with some Disruption Nova, eventually being able to get the kill on infested Terrans, but the Disruption Nova are also getting a little bit too much damage on top of these mortals when neural by the infestors. 9 drones gonna fall down to this Dark Templar over here, and right now ArT tries to dive on top of this Binding Phage, and that's gonna be an important victory for our Protoss player who's desperately trying to get back into this game. Disruption Nova trying to find some damage, but the recall has been used by ArT, who's still killing drones left and right, but not being able to even closely engage the main army of B, while the third player is gonna get one more Nexus, more probes are gonna fall down. How many Nexus have been killed in this game? 2? Just 2? Really? Anyway, Disco Bloodbath has proven itself to be very bloodbath, and right now ArT trying to move forward, but this looks like a little bit of a desperate move. I don't think he really needed to do that. He's gonna lose an Immortal and a Disruptor. An Immortal is not gonna fall, he's gonna lose just a Disruptor to Vibers through Abduct. And right now B has map control all over the map, pinning his opponent in his lower right corner. And with a very, very weak army, ArT also using a lot of his energy to deflect those locusts. Also gonna lose one of these disruptors. One of them is gonna be badly damaged. And with these many infestors out, with tiredness getting into play, ArT is of course not looking very good in this game. B very, very much ahead, looking for a way to end this game, abducting also the war prism that has been causing that much issues to his economy up to this point. He has pretty much the same income of his opponent, just way more gas. But the thing that really has going on for him, he has a very, very strong bank with 5k gas in the bank. Very good. Disruption Nova gets a good chunk of the Argolis, but there is no need that is gonna be enough. There is no way that this is gonna be enough for ArT to eventually let his opponent back away. Good Fungals on top of this army of ArT. One Disruptor is gonna get caught out in the open. The Disruption Nova is not gonna deal a lot of damage. Storm baiting a lot of infested Terrans. Sorry, killing a lot of infested Terrans, but ArT doesn't have enough to fight the army of B. He knows he has to go onwards, he knows he has to live to fight another day. B currently at match point in this best of 9 series. Well, we're now at game 8 after some very, very long games. Both players have proven themselves to be very, very hard to kill and very, very strong on the offense. A lot of drones have fallen down in this game, a lot of probes have fallen down in this game, but B just managing to get more powerful engagements time after time, and just chipping at the army of his opponent slowly but steadily until it was the point in which ArT could not do anything anymore to fight his opponent. But let's see. Game 8, number 8. Maps are open again, and this time it's gonna be Thunderbird again for ArT versus B. Game 8, B at match point. Welcome back to Thunderbird, everybody. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner, it's our Light Beam Protoss player. 1 point ahead behind in this best of 9 series. It is ArT. Spawning instead in the top left hand corner, currently a match point. It's our red Zerg player. It is B, alien from 3D clan. Extractor trick into having an earlier arch. Just the usual for our Zerg player. ArT definitely needs to mix it up. I feel like the Swarmos Infestor play is getting to his nerves. He needs a way to prevent that from happening. He needs either quicker. Actually, what is his cancel? Oh wait, yeah, it wasn't early gas. Yeah. He needs a way to prevent that army from being that strong at that point of the game. Meanwhile, B probably feeling strong on his style. He's probably gonna try to play it off in the way he has played it off throughout this series. If he's gonna be able to close it out on this game number 8 with his style, or if he's gonna be able ArT is gonna be able to tie up the series and get to game 9. It's all up to the choices those two players are gonna be making in the next few minutes. ArT needs to deal some damage early on to prevent B from getting that early infestation pit basically for free, while B knows that his opponent will not try to do the same he has done throughout the series, since it looks like B has basically ArT figured out of the past 5 games. I think B won like actually out of the past 4 games he has won 3. I don't know. Anyway, B getting his overload speed while ArT mixing it up. No more target, Twilight Council opener for the Protoss player. He barely saving his overload. 9 HP. It was 1 shot, I think, from his Stalker from being killed. I don't know if overloads count as armored. I don't think they do. Anyway, Lynx streaming in to see if there is a fair pace on the way from ArT. There is not. Overload speed has kicked in right now. Right now, this overload is gonna looking for some scouting information in the main base of ArT. And what's he gonna find? He getting into the mineral line of his opponent. He immediately sees the Twilight Council, immediately sees the Dark Shrine, and with this other overload, oh okay, this other overload is dead. But right now, one more overload is joining the fray, but I think he saw the robot, yeah, with the links. So Big knows what's up. He starts his own lair, he drones ArT behind this. He needs few units to counter this, but he needs his queens in position, that's for sure. He has units out to actually, overloads out to actually see when the Warp Prism is moving out, and he catches the Warp Prism moving out right now. So 2 adepts being produced right here for ArT. He's gonna be trying to do some damage with the adepts while he prepares for his Dark Templar harassment into Arcane Drop. Meanwhile, 2 Dark Templars being produced, 3 Dark Templars being produced. I think it is actually a double Prism play. No, it is not. The 3 Dark Templars get into position, but the Overseer is out. Where is it though? Queen's trying to get on top of the Warp Prism. ArT, the B doesn't look like that prepared for this. This Overseer, of course, trying to get into position to deal with the Dark Templars. A good spread by ArT. He's gonna get a lot of damage done, while the Adepts also were getting some damage done. 10 drones are actually falling down up until this point. This one Dark Templar is gonna be finally cleared, but more drones are gonna fall down. ArT looking strong in the beginning of this game number 8, getting away with 2 of his Dark Templars alive and 11 drone kills. Dark Templars openers, of course, always very powerful, and right now he's probably gonna go back in with this Archon. I don't think he's gonna try to make one more Archon, or maybe he will, I don't know, let's see. But meanwhile, a Forge being started by ArT, as well as Immortal production and Blink. He wants to stay mobile on the map. He doesn't want his opponent to gain all the map control he wants to get with a Swarmos Infested style. Right now, this Archon doesn't look like he's gonna be able to deal a lot of damage, while B safely drones back into an advantage behind this. But this Infestation Pit is being dropped very soon, as always, to get his Swarmos out as soon as possible, get his Nidus network going on, and get some early infestors. Those hallucinations are gonna eventually scout everything that is going on for the Zerg player, but is ArT prepared for this? He decides to push forward once again in a similar fashion as he did in the game before. Changelings out on the map are gonna be able to scout it, and this overload is gonna fall, causing a supply block for B, who cannot. Oh, he's actually going into Swarmos yet now, and this could prove quite a mistake for B. They can lose a lot of units, a lot of stuff to this push. 2 Spine Crawlers being placed, but his archery is not gonna be saved probably by B. He tries to get some good files, not gonna get a lot of connections, and right now ArT looks pretty content with getting a clear on top of this 4th archery. B dropping a Nidus in the bottom right corner, trying to get some damage with this almost on top of the natural base of ArT. Maybe also trying to empower the robot instead of killing the Nexus. I don't know. Yeah, he wants to kill the Nexus. He's gonna be able to do so probably. I don't think so. Those charge lots and this Archon are gonna close the deal for ArT. Once again, heavy supply block, ArT supply block for B. That has been losing a little bit too many overloads throughout the map, and his vision on the map doesn't look as powerful as it looked some games ago. Of course, these changelings out on the map gonna be able to let him place one more Nidus room close to the 4th base location of ArT. But the Protoss player is getting quite an early turn for Archives. Actually not that early, but in time for him to eventually react properly. This time ArT not taking damage by those Nidus networks. And right now, oh no, he don't see that. He doesn't see that. Very clever move by B. He was also being shooed a little bit away by the army of ArT, who's still very powerful, because B is still saving up supply to have infestors at the ready when he needs them. Good recall on top of his Nexus. ArT doesn't want to bleed anywhere, so those rumors basically didn't pay off for themselves. Those roaches trying to get on a good fight, but the Planeswalkers get on top of them, and it doesn't look like the fight is going well for B, who's just losing a lot of his key units. Ravager's going down, most of his Grand Army is no more. He has a lot of infestors going on for him, 3 already done, more are gonna be in production soon. His eye was on the way as well, but he's just escaping from Blink Stalkers, and it's not easy to escape from Blink Stalkers. Also, Swarmers not very good at dealing with Blink Stalkers since the Lurkers are very, very slow. But actually a Nidus Swarm into the main base of ArT. He is not gonna go up. One Dark Temper is gonna eventually shoo it away. B needs a perfect fungal on top of those Blink Stalkers to prevent them from blinking and getting a perfect Lurker sway. But not a lot of Swarmers are out at this moment. Right now, ArT is just going back away from Locust more than he is from Roaches, but he gets his immortals a little bit too behind. He also loses 2 of them while dealing a lot of damage in the main bases of B, of course. Dark Templars killing 19 drones and counting, but the main army of ArT has bleeded quite some immortals. Not getting to Disruptors yet, 2 robots in production as well as a Stargate. ArT rushing to late game army with these Blink Stalkers, giving him mobility, giving him the chance to keep his opponent honest with his economy. But the army of B is still very, very strong. 3 more infestors in production, Burrow on the way, first Viper out, and B has got back into the style he wanted to go for all the games we have played up to this moment. Shadow Stride on the way, as well as Observer Speed for ArT. He needs Observer Speed, of course, to counter those bird infestors. But B, right now, probably trying to set up some more hatcheries, trying to get a bank going on for him with his almost maxed out army, almost done +3 ranged upgrades. He's soon to start Carabas as well. The archery is gonna get killed or cancelled, I'm not too sure about this, with some more damage being dealt by ArT. But what, he pulled a duck test? Yeah, to prevent the units from warping it. Clever move by B. And but this one Dark Temper has proven himself to be quite annoying. And he's getting some Roaches kill as well. Actually, B is leaping a little bit off with his play. Those Blink Stalkers, of course, just clearing supply for ArT, who needs his precious supply to get some more Disruptors, more Dark Tempers, and maybe start getting his Stargate units. War Prism speed on the way, as well as +3 ground weapons for ArT, who just killed 11 drones with a multi-prong of Dark Tempers and Blink Stalkers, just freeing some supply for his key units while getting damage done. Of course, keeping ArT very, very honest with his economy, not being able to establish himself a bank. The Zerg player knows that he cannot fight as freely as he did in the other games. Right now, ArT with a much more aggressive play, being able to a little bit of a slip on there on that Oracle. Right now, B double expanding here as well on this base. Slightly out of vision of ArT. This Nidus network is not gonna stay alive. This Nidus world, sorry, is not gonna stay alive for a while longer. A lot of attacks all over the place. But Disruption Nova trying to get some damage on top of the infestors. Right now, B diving on top of an army that looks so slightly too strong for him, with the infestors 2 behind. His 2 of creep. He didn't spread enough creep for this army to move at the same pace. A very good fungal being dropped by B is gonna allow him to eventually back off. But right now, Dark Templars getting this one more base, and B just cannot get a 4th base of his own, while ArT is sitting on 6 bases right now, getting a mothership and 3 more Disruptors almost maxed out, working on creep, clearing creep everywhere. ArT has been active throughout the map for the whole game, and is killing 8 more drones, 9 more drones with those 10 more drones with these multi-pronged charge lots and Dark Templars attack. Getting down Another archery. B just not able to expand. What a game being played by ArT. B has eventually got himself into this space, but right now ArT sees creep with that salad, and it's not gonna be long before this base goes down since it's not connected by creep, and the army of B is not as strong as it was in the previous games, being made mostly of roaches and swarmers up to this point, with not a lot of infestors going on for him. He needs an economy. He cannot allow himself not to have lurkers, infestors. More and more Nidus rooms being placed around his fourth base location to help the Zero player try and find a good fight against the army of ArT, who's really sniping units at this point. Also, carriers are out. These locals trying to get some damage done, but they also stop over here. B not looking good this game. 10 drones down again. And right now, ArT also starts to mine from this base, with this Dark Templar being a safe shelter for this project. Right now, B decides to dive on top of this base, but Dark Templar here buys a lot of time for the army of ArT to eventually clash on top of this point, and it looks like a scenario similar to the one in Acropolis. ArT having a very powerful army, while B trying to keep the high ground on two very close bases, but this time B doesn't have a band, doesn't have quite the same powerful army, and it seems like he doesn't have the same control he had against before Disruption Nova kills half of the ground army of B. Do Disruption Nova more get a lot of damage done. This dark on top of the mothership was very good, but it didn't kill it because those infestors are not doing what they should be doing, spraying infested Terrans all over the place and trying to get damage done, but at the same time, oh my gosh, an archery has fallen down over here, so these Nidus will eventually bleed to death. B only has one good mining base since this archery has fallen down as well. That's basically half the income of his opponent. He's desperately trying to stay on this base, losing one Spore Crawler, one Infestor and 3 drones to just one Disruption Nova. ArT is at his doorstep, and right now Chargelot trying to get down Nidus network, forcing just more and more APM for B. And the third player just cannot expand in peace. ArT on top of his vision, on top of his map presence on such a hard map as Thunderbird as well, just avoiding his opponent from expanding everywhere. And right now, this Locust Wave not really cutting it. ArT right now moving forward, is strong on his disruptors. 5 more workers falling down, 6, and these are gonna be more workers dead. 9 drones falling to this Disruption Novas, and right now ArT dives on top of this base. It's gonna clear every single remaining drone over here, and probably gonna kill the hatchery as well. 13 drones falling down, 14 drones. B desperately trying to hang into this game, but it doesn't have the income, it doesn't have the army, it doesn't have enough to clear what ArT has, while the Protoss player 6 bases and the crazy good income, 6k minerals, 2.5k gas in the bank as well, and this hatchery is probably going down. Well, it is not. I mean, but or is it though? Well, it is not going down, but it's very close to going down, while at the same time over here Chargelots have been clearing the third base location of B. I don't think it's gonna last a lot longer. Disruption Nova gets out of the infestors, and Ravagers pile down a couple more. B goes the GG. We are at ace match in this best of 9 series. We're going to game 9 to decide the winner of the Alpha X Pro Series number 117. And these have been really good games. I'm very curious to see what's going on in the last game of this series. We're having game number 9 of World of Sleepers. Let's see who's gonna get the prize of this Alpha X Pro Series number 117 between ArT and B. Let's go into World of Sleepers. Spawning in the top bottom left hand corner of World of Sleepers, it's our light pink Protoss hailing from Poland, hailing from Alpha X after a really convincing victory in game number 8. He gets his ace match. It is ArT. Spawning instead in the top right hand corner as the red Zerg, hailing from 3D Clan, it is B. Of course, we had a 3 hours long series, slightly longer than 3 hours. So it's really hard for those players to be on top of their game at this point. But of course, they have to be perfect to beat each other. We're talking about two very powerful players, top of their respective servers. And right now, let's see what they're gonna prepare for this one last game. Are they gonna stick to their guns, or are they gonna go for something off the book? Right now, being not going for anything too suspicious, so ArT can safely drop his Nexus first, and Nexus first second. He's probably gonna be walling off, well, not walling off, just clicking a pylon over here to avoid the laser build. But at the same time, B doesn't really sorry, been losing a little bit of voice. B doesn't really look like he wants to give up his very own style. Early infestation beat, early infestors, early sumos, early niders, just get everything before 8 minutes and try to max out on plus 3 ranged Hydras, Roaches, infestors and sumos. Stargate opener for ArT, who gives up his Swallow console. We're not gonna see a single robotics facility opener for the Protoss player that is going once again for his Swallow console, for his target, signature play. On the other side of map, B decided to go for his overload speed. B didn't change opener a single time in this best of 9 series. Once again getting this low ground base in a pretty greedy fashion. You get that rich Vespine geyser mining from him. It's not like it's that different from this base, but this base is so easier to defend compared to this one. This is very open spot compared to the one of the other base that is also easily connected to the other base. But anyway, those are pretty minor stuff for someone who's not as high as those players, and I really think that ArT is gonna try to do something to punish his opponent once again, as he did in game number 4, I think, netting him a victory. And yeah, it is a robot being started soon after the Oracle is out for ArT. Probably gonna see another Oracle out after this. Is this gonna be another Oracle? Come on, ArT. Come on. What a console will drop for this player. With the first Oracle trying to get some damage onto the mineral lines of B, while Also getting some scouting information, of course, such as the tech that B has chosen. Not that B has chosen. Oh, it already was second oracle, actually. I didn't see it. Anyway, the spore caller is gonna shoot those oracles away, getting only one queen. Of course, pretty good for ArT nonetheless. Watch Warren being dropped by B, and those oracles are just sharking for some more kills. One more drone is gonna fall down, 2 drones, 1 queen. Not that much damage, but still enough for ArT to actually pay off with those oracles that are just gonna be very useful as scouting tools as well. This Stalker over here alongside this Pylon to prevent the laser build. While War Prism is out, Templar Archives is done, so this is the slightly greedier choice for an Archon drop, getting Templar Archives instead of a Dark Shrine to just get to High Templars a little bit quicker. So there is probably not enough stuff over here to kill his Nexus, but actually B is sending more and more links through the map. ArT has to react, ArT has to send back his Oracle, activating the energy, otherwise this Nexus is not gonna live to. Oh wow, War Prism immediately being recalled into the main base of ArT after these many links have been a menace, a threat for ArT. Archons, of course, very good against these many links. And B, not even having an overload highway, sending a lot of links, a lot of brooches, a lot of queens throughout the map. This is a unique push by our third player who's just streaming units through the map. The main fight is over here, but look at how much stuff B is sending through the map. ArT is desperately trying to find a good spot to fight on. He has this high ground over here, but he has to retreat to a better spot to fight. He walls off his main with a very good force field. These links cannot get in, but right now B is at his doorstep. Mortals are holding the door as well as Archons, but this third base location is out in the open with those overlords spreading creep, and the first creep tumor gonna be dropped outside the natural of ArT. B decided to mix things up for the last game of the series, establishing a weird type of contain outside the base of his opponent. This kid will barely not falling, he's gonna fall now. Those queens are slightly out of transfuses, but right now a very good surround with those links can happen, and now the Ravagers are gonna try to pile down Immortals. Oh gosh, the War Prism falls, but as well as most of the Ravagers and Queens of B right now. This is a bloodbath. So many units are falling down. The creep is over there to prevent ArT to get a wall up anytime soon. But the army of B is gonna get cleared finally. How many queens does B have right now? Yes, still 5 queens. Still running stuff through the map. He's probably gonna stop now. ArT decides to expand right here on the low ground, following the footsteps of his opponent. But ArT managed to hold a crazy push by B, who's still very strong on the army supply, doubling the army supply of his opponent. Having killed the third base location for ArT, having killed most of his wall, of course, pulling his opponent a little bit behind. But let's see if B right now decides to go for some more units and a more powerful push, or if he decides to go for an infestation pit and just get his stuff going. ArT meanwhile trying to expand to the low ground, keeping the most of his army over here. Watch speed almost done for B, who has a lot of creep through this central pathway. He still can send queens easily over here. Right now, those approaches trying to get some damage in the main base of ArT. But he eventually scouted what his opponent had going on for him. He needs more Ravagers. Right now, very good piles, getting some connections on top of the Immortals, eating a little bit too many piles. And this is still a very, very powerful army for ArT. He has the army supply at his advantage right now. He still tries to move on top of the wall of ArT. ArT cannot just get his wall up easily, it seems. B threatening him from all sides. Not very good piles over here. This one are gonna get better connections with the Archons. The War Prism is gonna drop sentries on top of the army of his opponent to get some good force splits. Right now, he panicking a little bit, piling his own units, but all that stands up for ArT are the key units. Archons and Immortals just didn't die, and that is as much as it needed to hang up to this fur-based location and just avoid the push of B from being deadly. But at the same time, our third player doesn't look like he's gonna get any more damage soon with this rush heavy army. Very good piles, gonna get down a lot of stuff. Very good force splits as well. He needs some perfect piles to get the most of his unit fighting. Very good juggling as well by the War Prism. Right now B tries to dive on top of these Archons and these Immortals, but the juggling by ArT has been impeccable right here. Right now B tries to focus fire some of the Immortals, but right now from double the army supply, B is barely up in supply against very, very powerful Protoss army right here. Dark Shrine on the way, plus 2 ground weapons and Blink almost done, while B has his Nidus network and his infestation pit, but it doesn't look like it's getting infestors or swarmers out anytime soon. Otherwise it will simply die to the army of ArT right here. He's still trying to pin his opponent back, but by showing his cards, I don't think that B made the right choice. He needs, okay, 7 swarmers in production. He needs to buy a little bit more time with this army. Showing off the opponent, maybe getting the War Prism is gonna be the best thing he could possibly do. But this moment, he still buys enough time for the swarmers to be out and eventually force his opponent to pull him back. Those 2 swarmers use their first Locust waves and oh gosh, the War Prism is gonna fall, so eventually this is gonna be a hold for B, who has a million Ravagers right now. Spies flying down from everywhere, drones being pulled as well. Spies getting a little bit too many drones, but the Immortals just don't fall. 16 drones falling down for B, and ArT gets his recall, saving all of his Immortals. The army of B is very powerful once again, strong on the Swarmers Nidus play, but B lost so many workers right here, and Charge prevents those piles from connecting into one of the Archons, so B eventually gets away with his units. Sorry, ArT eventually gets away with one of his Archons, the other one died for him, but he's expanding to his 4th base location, a little bit off. Those logos are gonna get some damage, not a lot, but still some damage. 6 probes are gonna fall down. But right now, it's Dark Templar's time for ArT, who's once again wants to pin his opponent back after deflecting every type of push his opponent did. Is now fighting again. 6-7 drones falling to Dark Templars. These Archons trying to find some kill on top of those Overlords. Of course, Overlord speed is gonna prevent most of them from dying. 5 more Swarmers in production for B. We're still not gonna get his Infestors out. But yeah, these Dark Templar still being a very, very annoying part of ArT harassment plan. Right now, he's eventually gonna be shoot when the Seer comes into play. Nidus Worm being placed just outside of this 4th base location. For ArT, probably not gonna get a lot of damage done as long as his army stays over here. Gets scouted by the War Prison. ArT's army moves slightly back. He needs to get some damage on top of the Locust B. His supply blocked, but he wants to fight with this Locust wave, diving on top of the Nexus. Now that enough damage is done on top of the Nexus, he can back off. The Nexus is down. B found the amount of damage he was looking for, and right now it doesn't look like he's gonna back off Nidus Worm. In the natural of ArT, this could be very deadly if he manages to focus down both the Nexus and the Robo. ArT doesn't look like he's reacting very quickly for it. One Zealot and War Down Templar are gonna be enough to kill the Nidus Worm, but this one over here, of course, will allow B to do some very needed damage before transitioning into Infestors. Neural on the way, Pathfinder Glance already done. Swarmos messing just outside of ArT's base, and this playstyle has proven to be so strong for the Zero player who's gonna get one more Nexus down. This is not the most rich base of ArT, of course, but 7 probes, a Nexus, a lot of violence. Oh, actually just one. But meanwhile, B fighting on one more base. Actually, this base has been denied for the 2nd time for ArT, who still has a very rich base over here, and still has a rich Vesperian Gazer over here with a lot of mining. But B is safely getting to his Infestors army. He's killing safely on 50 workers, spreading some more creep, getting more archeries. And what is Infestor count right now? It's 6 Infestors, 2 more gonna join the fray. While he has a lot of vision literally everywhere. One more Nidus. This time it's basically to spam creep and have a movement tool through the map for B, but ArT doesn't look like he wants to allow this from happening for a lot longer. He wants to get some creep spread off his side of the map. He's still gonna get this base going on. He still has a lot of workers, 54, not a bad income. He doesn't have the tech though. He doesn't have his disruptor, he doesn't have his storm. He just has a lot of immortals and a lot of archons. 2 Vipers in production for B, who's almost maxed out, slightly supply blocked, but he's gonna get some more damage over here with those locusts. 2 Dark Templars are gonna be able to prevent his Nexus from being killed, as well as those 2 Archons. The most of the army of ArT is actually gonna fight on not that good of a spot. This Archon almost fell for nothing. 4 probes have fallen for ArT as well, but right now, just look at the losses. 114 roaches have died this game. Oh, very bold next Nidus by B is gonna be seen by ArT, who's pulling his units behind to deal with it. Placing 2 Dark Templars over here, of course, gonna be enough. Those 2 almost not gonna... What? Well. Anyway, those 2 almost got trapped outside of the Nidus Worm. He almost maxed out with a very powerful army. 13 Infestors, 12 Swarmos, well they're not over here, 12 Swarmos, and how many Vipers does he have? 2 Vipers. Still not expanding over here, he will expand over here nonetheless. And right now, ArT looks like he's almost free supply at this point. Maybe he doesn't really want us Archons. But, or maybe it was just a distraction. He's getting over here, gets this Nidus down. He knows there is a base going on for his opponent over here, but ArT looks extremely undecisive. He doesn't still have the tech he needs to win this game. He's getting his Disruptor, he's getting his Flip Beacon, and that's probably the way to go. But he needs his unit out as soon as possible, or 13 Infestors are gonna, full energy, are gonna prove a very hard opponent for our Protoss player. ArT moving to the top side of the map, trying to outmaneuver his opponent and get some damage done over here. The Swarmers are in position, Lotus Wave are gonna be used, and right now ArT is once again on the run. His one Disruptor is dangerously close to being targeted down. A lot of soldiers blink behind into safety, but ArT is pinned into a bad spot. Two Disruptors get abducted and gonna get killed by the main army of B. It was still maxed out, we didn't lose basically anything aside a few roaches. Meanwhile, in the main base of B, how many larvae is that? Anyway, in the main base of B, the hive is getting threatened by a lot of charge lots. Fully upgraded, of course, not easy to kill. Those queens are gonna fall down. Meanwhile, the Locust Wave going at the bottom side of the map, easily cleared by ArT after recalling all of his army over there. And right now, most of the queens cleared by ArT. Run by, kill that thing. ArT, what you waiting for? Okay, sorry, B. Anyway, a lot of Disruptors going on for ArT, who's multi-pronging out of his mind. 13 drones killed by these 13, 15 Dark Templars are basically everywhere, as well as charge lots. ArT buying himself enough time to get out the amount of High Templars and Disruptors he needed to counter the army of his opponent, but B doesn't look too sad of losing that many workers. 9 more Infestors on the way for our Zerg player, who still has a lot of map control, a lot of Swarmers, a lot of Infestors. He's gonna get to 22 Infestors. Abducting an observer is something I probably never saw in a game of StarCraft. These Locusts trying to get some damage done on top of the Nexus once again. They don't find a lot of damage. The cannons and the main army of ArT are gonna be able to just clear the amount of Locusts be sent to this Nexus. Some probes are actually falling on this base. It was just maybe a bit of an overextend for ArT, who probably couldn't quite handle having this base out over here. But right now, ArT also trying to get his damage of his own, and it looks like the main army of B is totally out of position. He needs to use a Locust Wave to clear those Zealots, and I think he's gonna be able to barely deal with those, unless ArT micros them out of the way. But B is microing his Lotus as well. 4 drones falling down, as well as 7 probes in the lower left, right corner base of ArT. Good abducts, getting some damage. Actually, those Zealots, more Zealots came into this base, and right now more drones being killed by the run-by of ArT. B still trying desperately to stop ArT from mining into this base, but the abducts, very good. Oh gosh, the one Disruption Nova that could have ended the game. Very good storms over here as well, but ArT still doesn't manage to find enough Infestors killed, just one actually, to close the deal. And now one more Nidus network, Nidus Swarm being dropped by B in this base, while ArT still trying to go for some damage into this base. And Nidus swarm goes up eventually, but it's just one swarm. Oh gosh, it's gonna be used over here to clear those Dark Templars, not eventually being able to do so. He has a lot of movement tools throughout the map, and there's a powerful army as well, but ArT, this look a lot closer to the game on Acropolis. ArT just has the mining, just has the bank, has reached the tech he wanted to reach way easier than his opponent wanted him to do. And right now he's just trading off everything he can to stop B from mining. If this board base falls down, there is not a lot going on for B whatsoever. Also, this Oracle just doesn't want to die. And he stays there, in fact. Right now, ArT going once again into one more base of B. The army of B is gonna be there very soon, but will those Immortals be able to kill the base fast enough? Yes, they will. The archery falls down, 23 drones have fallen down, and right now ArT can dive on top of this other base, outmaneuvering his opponent completely. The Protoss player is in God mode right now, killing bases left and right. All of the mining of B has basically been denied, while at the same time B has been able just to kill this one Nexus. ArT still safely mining gas from here, still has some minerals and gas in the bank, as well as B, to be completely honest. Oh, one infestor is going down for free. But the main army of ArT seems ready to clash on top of those infestors. ArT still just not overextending. Oh, first carrier is out, gonna find a lot of swarmers out, but it doesn't look like he wants to do a lot about them. Meanwhile, 37 drones have fallen to these many attacks, and Yav is gonna go down as well. B bleeding from all possible sides. ArT still being present on the map everywhere, not losing this base again, just 2 probes falling down in this very important base, while ArT still not content with the damage he has dealt to his opponent, still trying to snap this archery, while at the same time he's moving on the other side, outmaneuvering completely the army of B, who just cannot spread his infestors. Otherwise he will lose half his army if ArT decides to dive on top of them. Also, it's hard enough to control one infestor's almost Viper army. Imagine controlling 2 of them. Meanwhile, B once again trying to get a Nidus Swarm over here. ArT just slightly out of vision of it. It seems like this base won't go up. But the main issue here should be once again this army. These infestors are a little bit out of position, and now perfect Disruption Nova get out of the infestors, out of these swarmers, and just these storms on the top of the army of ArT are not enough. It seems like ArT can safely dive on top of this big mistake of B. Game 9. This player has played an incredible series, keeping perfect control of his infestors, but this time he moved a little bit too forward, and right now gonna lose a big chunk of them again to one Disruption Nova. 19 infestors have fallen down, and I think at least 15 of them are just falling down to these 2 Disruption Nova. It looks like B is out of ideas, out of strength, just too tired to keep on fighting. ArT just wants this more. ArT just didn't sleep off a single time this game, not in a significant way at least. And right now B 18 workers against 57, 123 army supply. Yes, it's true. Right now army of ArT just basically unbeatable for B right now. Of course, 18 infestors still out, He's still mining from this base. But for how long? Storm dropped by ArT, jazzing on top of his opponent. The mothership is gonna get recalled as well after an abduct. So ArT is not even gonna lose a mothership after B once again proving himself to be very good at controlling his casters. Just that slip of micro, losing that much stuff, not what he wanted. And right now B is pinned on his side of the map. He's mining from just one base, and this base is not gonna live a lot longer if ArT decides to dive on top of it. More Ravagers fall to Disruption Novas. Very good Fungus, but the Corrosive Biles are not as good. The Storm and the Disruption Novas are zoning the army of the ArT. Good feedbacks on top of the Vipers, but the Zolmos alone is not gonna be able to save this base. One more hatchery falls down for B. Not a single mining base is standing for B, and he doesn't have enough minerals to build one. He needs to kill the army of his opponent if he wants to win, but he doesn't have way enough stuff to do so. Good Fungus, one more Infestor actually falls down. Good Fungal once again, but ArT just doesn't mind. ArT is killing every single building his opponent has. This one archery. Actually, this is the only archery mining from B at the moment, but it has still to go up. ArT, 138 army supply, is just now revealing his opponent's army. Not a good Disruption Nova has yet to be seen from this last possible fight, but I don't think that B is gonna survive a lot longer. One more actually falls down. Disruption Nova all over the place right now. B dies on top of his opponent's army, but in a desperate fashion, and he's probably gonna be forced to call the GG very, very soon. Here it is. ArT gets the victory in this best of 9 series. He's the champion of Alpha X Pro Series number 117. And what a series we have seen up to this point. It's just one of the best PvZ I've ever seen. Really crazy play by both those guys, and I think at the end just ArT was a little bit clearer of mind in the last 2 games, and that's what netted him the victory. And just being able to do less mistakes after such a tiring series is of course something that not all players can do, and ArT being able to get a victory on quite a powerful foe. This has been the last game for this stream. I'm Acontises. I've been your sorry, I'm very tired. I've been your caster for today's games. You can find me on twitch.tv/Acontises. Check out the Discord of the team if you like to know more about us, if you like to join the team, whatever. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks to players for having such a great series. And well guys, see you next time. Let me find somebody to raid real quick. Who can we raid? Well, I don't know. No one of our guys is streaming at the moment. So, I don't know. Let's raid Jason. I'll do it real quick. Thanks everybody for watching. See you next time. Okay, it's not working. Never mind. Just stay tuned. We will lose someone.